Welcome to Bridge the Gap. That's the show. I'm behind that suit. Nobody can get it figured out. I'm totally fine with that. I'm all right with it. They're all good. These are all perfect names. But Bridge the Gap's the interview show that we do here with the specific intent of taking super talented, smart, and interesting people, which is basically a lot of people. People don't know how interesting people really are, but you're extra interesting, in my opinion, because I'm a huge fan of your music. And I don't say that to everybody because I'm not a huge fan of everybody's music, but I like listening to your shit on repeat sometimes. That doesn't happen to everybody. No offense to everybody else out there. So like it's a huge pleasure to have you here, like for real, real, reals. I seen you
Thank
perform
you.
live. I know you kill it. So all that to say, what we like to do is take people that are fucking fire like you, like, and go through your life and learn all of the knowledge nuggets that we can, because your life is probably not boring. You know how I know? Because you're here. We're talking. It can't be boring. Nobody goes on an interview show if they don't think that their life had some interesting. You know what I'm saying? Um,
For sure.
and so it's such a pleasure to have you here, Serenity. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, for the sake of it all. And I don't know, it's just cool. It's just great. And just so you know, we'll have like your links in description and all that shit after and blah, blah, blah. So everybody's going to follow you and all that good stuff. But on that note, are you okay with me starting with my token story first question?
Of course, absolutely. It's your show. You got to do what you got to
I know,
do.
but I also ask it like that
Don't
every
even ask
time.
that
But I
question.
ask it every time now. It's part of like the, you know how like it's like a track in my head. Like this whole thing is like a little track, like a song. So that's part of the song. That's like the intro clip. As we move into the
Got you.
part where I'm like, yo, so one time my girlfriend is washing the dishes and shit, and she's bumping that Black Eyed Peas shit, that I got a feeling, ooh, that shit right there. And she's like dancing around, and she's fucking bopping, and she's washing those dishes. And I'm like, yo, this is chores music now, and that's fucking funny to me, because like once upon a time I went back and we're in the clubs. I'm at the right age where 2 in the morning's coming on and we're all in a circle, fill up my cup, we're all doing that shit because we faded. And I'm like, wait a second, that used to be club music, and now the shit is chores music. I've called it mom music before, exercise music. These are all acceptable terms in my head for that kind of music. But it used to be like club music, which made me have this crazy epiphany. All that club stuff you're hearing today, that's just future chores music. It's just what the people, the future, are going to be choresing too. And then you go back in time, right? That's what happened to me, because I started going, yo, wait a second. When I was like five and shit, there were all these vibes around. So like my mom like we had those really shitty disco tapes. I remember them vividly, like the $2 knockoff ones where it wasn't the real songs, and she would play these tapes in the car in the fucking house, whatever. And then like my dad had all the Zeppelins, and I remember Krista Berg in the cars, etc. So like it's just all sorts of different vibes going on, and I'm starting to realize, hold on a second, like, yo, that means that the musical journey for us, that shit's not like at 12, whatever, my first favorite song. It's not really there. This shit starts like way, way, way back when you're like real, real young, like five, whatever. I don't know. It's an arbitrary age. But like back when you're super young, you have zero fucking control over the sounds in your life. It's really just your family or your
That's true.
circumstances or the radios or whatever. So I think it's always fun to start with that. Why don't you tell us what it's like to be like the super youngest Serenity you can remember, and the sounds of your life, the technologies, just describe it all for us.
Wow, that question. That's loaded. Lovely. Nice intro, BTW. Um, wow. Okay, so let's go back to Little Serenity. Little Serenity is probably not waking up to, but maybe around the afternoon, kind of vibing to, like you said, without a choice, to soca music.
Okay.
I My mom's Trini, my father's Jamaican. So, soca music have to bump and play inside the house and thing, you have to get on and all kind of thing just to, catch the vibe.
So the only reason I
So
have any idea what you mean is because of Pre Chankobia and his Thank God It's Soca Fridays, and then I started watching that, and so I kind of know what you mean.
there you go. There you go. So that's it. So Trini vibes, Trini energy, also a lot of reggae too. Once again, because of the Caribbean mix. Predominantly being played by my brother. My brother would seem to always be the DJ
Okay.
in the house. like even to the point of like blaring the music out the windows because he's trying to get the rest of the world to catch his vibe too, you know. So just that. So soca, reggae. Also, with that, there is a lot of hip hop and rap, without a doubt. Um, Little Serenity,
Can I
I
ask
think Little
another
Serenity
question about Little Serenity?
for sure.
Where was Little Serenity born?
Oh, Little Serenity was born in Montreal, NBG
Yo,
on Walkley and Fielding, to be more specific. Yeah, DG, you know, reps up. And then Little Serenity actually moved to Uptown.
mm,
So it was all that flavor mixed with a next piece of flavor, then make a whole flavor in. Then from Uptown, yes, you'll hear a lot of that
no,
too.
we're
Excuse
just we'll get to what comes after that as we get there. Cause trust, we're going through your life with some details here. We still at the littlest, so if you're saying past, no, we can get there later. Because we got
okay,
more
bless,
questions, right? So, all right, so you got
bless,
soca going
bless.
on. You got.
So we have soca going on.
I'm gonna assume that means you're dancing and shit. Cause how could you not be if all this is happening? Unless I'm wrong.
My what is singing
Are you
shit?
dancing?
Oh, of course, of course,
Mm,
of course.
that's
I
fresh.
have to be. There's no way to not dance to soca. It's like if you don't dance, you're dead. Something's wrong with you. Sorry, but let's
Nah, it's
keep it a buck.
fresh.
You know what I mean? So soca is life. Facts. Like you ever seen there's a movie like that where every time this guy hears a song, he starts to wake up. Weekend with Bernie. It's like old ass movie. So funny. Anywho, so soca's playing, reggae's playing, hip hop and rap is playing, without a doubt. A lot of R&B too. A lot of R&B. You know, Mary J. Blige, one of my most favorite R&B artists ever. Just because I found she was a trendsetter. She had a lot of swag and all that jazz, but definitely a lot of R&B, a lot of Mary J. Um, who else? Oh, well, I mean, Michael Jackson, all of that.
Well,
Like,
fair enough.
it's a
It
mixture.
paints
It's a
a picture, though.
plethora.
Maybe you don't see all the connections yet, and hell, I don't even see the connections yet. But 9 times out of 10, this shit ties into something later on. So I don't know what it is, but we'll have that moment together, maybe, possibly, and maybe not. Who knows? But you still painted a hella interesting picture, because yo, the people that are watching this are people that want to know more about Serenity, so they do care about all of these little things. Were y'all with
For
vinyls or
sure.
tapes or radios?
Tapes, all tapes, but mind you, it's not my tapes. It's my brother's tapes because
Mm.
once again, I'm Little Serenity, so I don't have any tapes. It's his tapes and even his VHS tapes. I used to like go in his room and steal some of them sometimes just to put on so that I can see the hip hop. You know what I mean? So I can see because honestly, some of them were like explicit words. For example, like you see something from Salt and Pepper talking about like push it, whatever. So it's like it's not out in the open for everyone for young kids to see, right? So VHS tapes, cassette tapes, to the point that he's like recording stuff off of CKUT just to catch the hip hop.
Yo,
And
can
I'm
we
there the
pause
whole
for a
time.
second?
Hmm.
Sometimes we tap into Montreal history nuggets, and not everybody knows what you're talking about when you say recording off of CKOT. A lot of people that you literally know probably do, but let's pretend that Golden Jenny in Norway might not know. And that's right, Golden
Hmm.
Jenny from Norway is watching, might not know exactly what some of these things are. So can you expand a little bit on the significance of what that means to people?
The significance, I can't fully express the significance because once again, it wasn't my experience.
Right.
I was living vicariously through my brother. But I think for him, recording with tape off of CKUT meant patience and really diving into the music because he was trying to basically create his own mixtape from what CKUT was playing on the radio. So as CKUT plays, he presses record and he does whatever he does. And then all of a sudden we have what was once a blank tape, a mixtape of hip hop and rap.
So you know what's really cool
So
about your version of that answer is because everyone else was the one who did it. I've never heard
I
somebody
didn't do it.
describe somebody else doing it before, and I thought that was a coolly insightful thing. So just, I want you to know, thank you for sharing this shit. To me, it's all
No problem.
mad fucking interesting. At the time, was it the only hip hop station that Montreal could get that kind of thing?
Uh, I don't know. I think so. I think so. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. But because it seemed to be his go-to station, so definitely it's a good possibility that it was the only station. Yeah.
Fair enough. I just ruled it because my girlfriend asked the question, and in my life, it is ask the one she asks because she's in the next room and shit, you know?
Okay.
No, but no, you're doing wonderful. This is really great. I'm really appreciating everything you're sharing. Um, but yo, next up, I want to know, just do you have interest when you're super young in like being a singer, rapper person? Like, are you already interested in vocals when you're young? Any kind of performing happening in your life?
I was always kind of the class clown, but like class clown versus good girl slash nerd. So it's a weird mix. So I was always doing some kind of pseudo performance in the sense that at one point I was trying to dance like Michael Jackson. I'm not doing it in the class necessarily, but I'm doing it like maybe at recess or something like that. I was always poetic. Um, Definitely learned that more about myself concerning that in high school. But also as far as performing, there was no like actual stage for me to perform on. I was just doing it at home, being silly amongst friends, that kind of thing.
Yo, that's dope though, because what I've come to see is that a lot of people who did stuff like that when they're young are mad skilled when the time comes to hit that mic the first time. Because actually back then they was clocking those hours that they didn't know was clocking hours. So it's super interesting to hear this kind of stuff. Like I'm not saying any of this facetiously. I do this all the time because I fucking love hearing this kind of stuff. It's like, how did Serenity become that amazing? And this is part of how she became that amazing. Because when she was young, she was fucking out there practicing her moves on the slide. But yo, think about how much complexity went into that. You were already practicing context, time and place, awareness. Like, yo, there was a lot that you did in that little story if anyone stops to really listen to it.
Yeah, there definitely was a lot. And there's a lot of influence. So the influence from, like I said, hip hop, soca, reggae, it's all more or less stewing up, turning up into this being. So it's all about your environment and what you're seeing, what you're soaking up. And I soaked up a lot of hip hop, reggae, soca because that's what I felt. That's what I loved.
Right. That's amazing though. But I was also
Yeah.
like just the fact that you practiced being a performer so young already and had that bug in a sense from when you were youthful. Like not youthful, or young. I don't know. Apparently, I used the word youthful wrong because I was wrong about when I thought that age group was. So I'm trying to, stamp out some bad habits. Anyway, I just stumbled through it. It's the first little bit. It's always like this, and then the next thing you know, we're fucking flying through your fucking accolades and wins, and everything's amazing. But yo, it starts with youth or youngness or being like a little one because then it builds into now. Usually, the next phase of your life is you have all these influences around you. You're soaking them all up, and then usually what happens, and maybe it's different for you exactly, but people get like this moment where they attach to like a song, and it becomes like different. Like yo, I fuck with this. Like this is
Mm.
good, and it just music changes, and now it becomes more something that's yours, and you are in control of that ship at that point. Do you remember that
Hmm.
moment in your life?
That was my like high school years, and that's when I was more on the R&B tip. And that's when I would like purchase every Mary J. Blige CD. Um, so it was predominantly hip hop and R&B. So a lot of Mary J. Who else? Who else? Who else? I would do a lot of mixtapes too, like slow jams. And then have sound clashes with friends.
What do you mean?
A sound clash. Like we would put music on CD and then have a sound clash with each other.
Like a versus battle?
So yeah, basically it's a versus battle. It's exactly a versus battle. And we'd
Whoa.
have, but it was over, like it wasn't over video because we didn't have video on internet back then. It was just like maybe over the phone. So you're playing the song. For example, I would choose something like, I don't know, My Life, Mary J, or Real Love or some shit, and then they would counter back with like Faith Evans, was When I Get You Home, or then I'd counter back with like Total, like other artists that probably you guys don't
I
know,
know who
but
Toto is.
you know who
Take a
Total is?
lot to drag me away from... I was trying to sing my Africa at you, but it was very bad. Anyway.
No, that's not. I'm not talking about
Oh,
Toto.
I
I
heard
said
Toto.
Total.
My bad. Oh, I fucked
Total.
that shit up.
Okay, that's no,
Sometimes it happens.
Total.
Total. I
No,
heard...
that's my bad too. It's that funny accent that
Nah,
sometimes comes out.
that's me being a shit listener and having a tomfoolery moment. They're used to it. You might not be used to it. They're used to it. They know I do this. I'm not perfect. I'm a fallible human on the
I
internet.
boy started sing Africa.
Ah, my bad. It's cool. No, but
Yeah,
yo,
it's
what you're
funny.
saying is really fucking cool.
Yeah, it was a versus battle,
I don't think
aka Sound Clash.
but you know what's also dope is how you manifested it, right? Because what like
Hmm.
yo, showing how you leveraged the tech at that time to pull it off is pretty helpful for a lot of us trying to remember how to be like young again as we approach this
Hmm.
internet marketing era. So like flat out like hearing that you just used the tools at your disposal and created some shit that is effectively one of the coolest things around today. Yo, that's nifty. That's not a boring
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. No, no, no. I wouldn't say it's boring at all.
Were you a
So
winner of
yeah,
these? How did you decide who won the round?
you know what? It wasn't even a competition like that. At the end
Mm,
of the day, we both had fun. We both got to learn new music most times. That was a way also to share music and learn new music. Um, and nobody was a loser, you know? Everybody was a winner. So that's it.
I could.
Sometimes you do like a three-way call or something, three-way call,
I do. I'm.
conference
Yo,
call.
I'm born in '87. I'm not exactly like that
Oh,
young.
okay, 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 okay.
I'm not.
So yeah, so three-way call and thing, So then we do a sound clash and that's it.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
makes a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
sense. But I was thinking like
It
that
was
must have
fun.
been an effective ass dating strategy if that's part of your culture. Yo, you do one of those, find
Yeah,
out right quick if you vibing or not.
that's true. That's very true. That's very true.
I don't know, maybe you
Yeah,
big.
no, it's true.
It is. I was like, if I was single, I'm gonna fuck around with that in the future. Not that I want to be single. I love her. She's amazing. I don't say
I believe you. Shout out to Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie.
hi, Bunny. Yeah, she's great. She's here. She's already laughed at me a couple of times on this podcast, so she's having a great time. She enjoys those moments a lot.
Hmm.
But that's dope. So, what high school did you go to?
Marymount.
Fresh. I know where Marymount is. I went to
Yeah,
Wager.
Marymount.
So, like, you guys were like definitely sporting rivals of sorts, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
That's cool. So when you
yeah,
was in
yeah,
high
yeah.
school, did you start to be like, I'm gonna get into music more seriously, or were you writing, or also did you have interest in other elements such as the drawing and the production side of things, or the DJing?
I did have interest in the production side of things, truthfully. I remember like downloading Fruity Loops, trying to mess with it, whatever. Um, See how this works, see how that works, and trying to figure some things out, seeing if I had a touch to it or not. Honestly, I gave that up. I was like, no, that's not for me. I already knew that I was poetically inclined. Why are you laughing?
I'm not. I just love what you're saying because I had a moment of, yo, I tried that Fruity Loop shit. I made one fucking beat. I said, fuck that, I'm a rapper. So trust, I'm relating. That was what that laugh
Okay,
was. I was like, I
okay,
feel what you're
gotcha.
saying so much that I couldn't even hold it in.
Yeah, so no, I already knew I was poetically inclined, so I said, you know what, I'll stick to the writing of bars and forget about making of beats, leave the making of beats to those who make the beats, and just write out these bars and write out these poems that I could turn into songs eventually. So yeah. As far as other artistic inclinations, I mean, I felt like I could act at one point in time. I was always good at acting in a way that I was acting silly or doing something in school. Like, I mean, for drama, I would get good marks because once again, I when I put my heart and mind to it, it's a wrap.
Mm.
So definitely acting was a thing that I could mix with, you know. And in the future, actually, in the future, present day, I recently helped someone with their not helped someone, but like recited their script in order to do like a script rehearsal or whatnot, and they were quite impressed. We had an audience and everything. The play hasn't been released, so I wouldn't say like exactly what the play is called, but it was a good run. It was like a 2 hour long session. So acting's always been something that was interesting to me, but I never really pursued it. In school, I was predominantly in high school, especially. I was just focused on school. Like I said, I had the nerd aspect to me too. So, like nerd to the point that I'm studying my books like a nerd.
Yo, I don't hate it. I'm not exactly not nerdy. I mean, I watched a lot of Star Trek. I read all of that shit. That's not for show. That's what I read. That's why.
Okay.
So like, straight up, I get it. I'm like, yo, I didn't take school that seriously in high school because life was complicated and I was bored. I was way one of those kids that probably should have been put in some special like challenge that motherfucker kind of courses, and I didn't. Not in like a bad way.
It's because your brain,
Yeah.
your
Like
brain
I
was.
needed to go in somewhere like, yo, this guy's not learning in that class. We need to put him somewhere where he might actually learn proper, and that never happened because whatever. I went to Wager, and basically, yo, I had great teachers though. Shout out all those teachers. I fucking love the teachers I had because they really did try to like care, and like people might want to talk a lot of shit about that school, but like all I knew were teachers that fucking gave a shit and people that didn't appreciate them, you know, like that's what I saw going on. But like I really took things seriously, especially like classes I liked, like English. Fuck man, I would just take that shit mad serious. So I respect that a lot, that you would take your studies serious, and I think it's a huge thing that people should do. I think the system's a little outdated, but like there's a lot of value in still learning the discipline that goes behind taking your shit serious, and
Seriously.
not learning that shit when I was young fucked me heavy in my early and mid 20s. So I respect it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I had to because I had a drive, I had a goal. I wanted to go somewhere particular at that point in time in my life. I wanted to do like I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Like in high school, you wanted to be a vet?
Yep.
That's so cool. Like that's not.
Yep. That was my aspiration.
That's mad cool.
That was my initial aspiration.
I respect that a lot. So you like
Yeah.
animals?
I love animals.
All right. Do you have pets?
I don't. I'm allergic actually, so that's why veterinarian. Forget about it. It's not happening.
If you could have pets, what would be like your dream pet scenario?
I used to have a cat named Comet Gato Guapo.
That's a
Um,
great name.
I know it really is. He was really cute. And I did develop allergies. I had to give him away, and then so the story goes. If I had a pet, I would probably opt for a dog at this point in time. But once again, I don't want to just get a pet for the sake of getting a pet if I'm allergic to them, you know? So I'd have to be really sure. I wouldn't get a pet because I'm allergic. So
Right. I
yeah.
respect that a lot.
But my primary pet would be a dog.
Is it like bad allergies or like? And I'm not saying that
Yeah.
not to be facetious, because there are layers to allergies.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
That
It's
sucks.
pretty bad. Yeah, to the point that I'll feel too congested, and everyone's afraid of people with COVID. So I mean, not that I'd have COVID, but you know what I mean. It
Oh
wouldn't it
my.
wouldn't reflect well. It wouldn't reflect well.
No, I hear you. Especially, I didn't even think of that. Like I didn't even
Yeah.
consider it in these times. Um, So like, I guess then you finish high school without really taking music seriously at that point in your life as a creator, or do you at some point in high school do you like, oh, nah, I'm gonna start writing songs, are you writing poetry the whole time, or?
I'm writing poetry, which are songs. They just don't have a beat to them.
Mm, okay, I know what you mean.
So so whole time in high school, I'm writing poetry the whole time from sec one all the way till the end. Poetry, 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 which are songs. And because what is rap? Rap is rhythm and poetry. So it's just my poetry didn't have a beat to it yet.
Mm.
Matter of fact, one of my poems, um, I turned it into a song, you know, where I found a beat for it, and I said, voila, that's a good match. So I just did that, you know. So it's I'm writing the whole time. I'm
Are you
always
like
writing.
Are you
Mhm.
practicing like delivery at that point though? Because I know there is a difference. Like if you're like intending for it to be songs, are you like spitting that shit to yourself? And I say this because I used to do similar things with writing the poetry, and sometimes I would do that in my older high schools, like at like 16, 17, when I'm like, nah, I want to be a rapper now. At some point, I'm like, so I'm writing, but it was like that. It was like at some point I went from like, regular poetry to like, structures, and then put the slashes, and I'd have like the chorus parts broken out and crap, like, and then I actually did that. So I fucks with how you did it because it makes sense to me. But like, I would at some point grew to practicing it, and so I don't know if
Was
you,
I practicing?
yeah,
No, no, not even. It was more written, and sometimes it would be written like a rap, if I could say that. Like because when you're writing a poem, automatically you already have a tempo or
mm,
a pace in mind about the poem you're writing, right? So for me, it was like every poem has its own pace, depending on what it is I'm speaking about or trying to express, that is, you know? So when I'm writing them, I'm not reciting them verbally, but in my head, I'm giving it a character already. So
that was
you feel
elegant.
me?
I do actually. I really like what you said there. I'm like, that's gonna make a fucking fresh ass soundbite after. Like, yo, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yo, I love your process. I'm sincerely a fan of yours, right? Like, so to me, it's just
Thank you.
really cool to like talk to you. I might come off kind of goofy and shit, but not for real. You're just really interesting. And so to hear how you do things, I care. It just I do. Other people care. That's just
Dope.
kind of what it is. It's just often we don't. I find like people don't get it at first. Nah, like we really care
Mhm.
about this shit. Ismail's watching. He said he wanted a llama earlier. People are like shouting it out. The comments aren't like super super litty at the moment, but like they're gonna get
Mhm.
super litty at some point. Um,
For sure.
what I've noticed is somewhere around 8 p.m. people start
Mhm.
to go, oh shit, I can't go out no more. And so people's habits have actually been impacted that. So we go through the biz part of it now, because this is the part where like whatever, it's your stuff, and then the story is only gonna increase from this moment, right? We're
For
basically
sure.
gonna finish up high school now, and now to like I'm gonna assume you finish high school, and then yo, did you do like anything cool like club wise? Like were you like in like the school newspapers or things like that?
Not even. I might have written a poem in one of the pages in the graduation book. Um, but I was never really a part of any clubs. I was just literally focused on school. I was also working a part-time job at that time too.
Okay.
So I was grinding. I've been grinding. I've been working part-time jobs since high school, like 15, 16. So, you know what I mean?
That's
So I
serious
had
though.
to, yeah, very. So that's why I'm just focused on getting my grind, getting my school in to make sure that, because like I said, I had goals, I had aspirations. I wanted to go to college. So I'm trying to make sure I make money so I can pay my tuition and I can pay my books. So am I in the newspaper? Nah. Not for any music, not for any, no, not even. Not a part of any
Well, I
book
meant like
clubs, no
no, because I
music
mean like
clubs.
I meant like like there's that committee that makes the book at the end of the year, and that's what I was thinking of. Like there were
Like the
people,
graduation
yeah,
book?
like there was a committee of people. That's like a club of people at my school at least that got together and made that shit. So I was just wondering if you.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a part of that.
Fair enough, but
Yeah.
I respect that because you were doing all this grind shit, as Merker says, hustlers, because
Yeah.
that's pretty
Precisely.
that and it's dope and it shows in a lot of, in my opinion, the ethic I've seen out of you. So that's fucking cool. So what happens after you finish high school?
I go to college. And in college, more of the same, honestly. But now I'm expressing myself musically a lot more, to the point that I'm seeing like freestyle rappers in Jake Small of Vanier. I don't know if you, I don't know where you, if you ever went to, if you've been to college or if you've
I
been
went
to
to
Vanier or
Abbott.
whatever.
I've been. I don't think I've
Abbott.
ever been inside of Vanier, so I know what
Okay.
Vanier is, and I can contextualize what you mean.
Okay. So I see dudes freestyling in Jake's Mall, and I'm like, I could do that. And my friend's beside me, and she's like, actually, you can, you should. And then there was a guy in front of me. He knew I had skills because I did a freestyle thing for them like maybe like 2 weeks before that incident. And he knew I had skills, but his reply was, "They're just gonna give it to you because you're a girl." And I was like, "Come on, bro." And he was like, "No, they're just gonna give it to you because you're a girl. If they give it to you, it's because you're a girl. So that's why." I was like, "Okay, whatever, if you say so." But I never actually joined in because you had to sign up, and I missed the sign up date. I didn't even know what was going on. Once again, my heads were in the books, and I was trying to get to where I thought I wanted to be.
I that's still fucked. I can't not
Yeah.
hear that at this point in 2020 and not go, yeah, that's some whack shit. There's like a no, there's okay, just to let you know where I'm at on that subject. We are in the middle of preparing, as in life got busy, but Eve's first album. I don't know if you've ever listened to Eve's first album. Rough Riders presents First Lady, blah blah blah. Eve. That shit sounds like
uh,
an album where
mm,
a bunch of dudes got in the way and fucked that shit up and ruined her shit. Like, honestly, there's so many parts of this album where you're like, this does not sound like. Because, yo, you hear what Eve becomes.
yeah.
And you're like, nah, Eve did not get what the fuck she. Nah. Like, why, also, why do all the albums have Token Dude at the beginning? Like, have you heard, like, the first fucking Remy Ma album? There's a guy that hypes her up at the beginning of the project because that's what they did, right? There was a guy who had to hype up the lady on track one of every debut album. I don't know why. I mean, I do, but like, so this always happened. And then I don't know who the fucking guy on the Remy Ma album is. We couldn't figure it out. We couldn't find this guy's name. And I'm like, yo, think about that. Nobody knows who the fuck, or at least I don't know who the fuck this guy hyping her up is. But we think Remy Ma is like a fucking goat in media these days. So I'm like, that's fucking nifty, no? Oh, yeah, and as my Benny threw in, Eve, Missy, Lil Kim, like all of them had this dude on track one. A lot of the times it was, in fact, Busta. But like, and they all just like, yo, this girl's dope. Like, yo, why did you, like, now it seems like maybe kind of weird to people, but when you say something like that, yo, Remy Ma's first album comes out after you started college, right? So like hip hop is clearly in that still climate. And like, I don't know, man. Like, I saw this interview with you right before this where, like, dude's like, female rapper. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, it's not necessary to say that to people. That's how I feel about this, all right? Like, you're one of the dopest MCs in the city, all right? Toe for toe,
Thank you.
you can go, like, fucking hands to anybody. Like, yo, you murked the freestyle last week. She came in, she busted the shit, and everybody knew Serenity stole the crown that night. Okay, like there was no contest. Nobody doubted. Cool Man Logan's willing to admit it. Maybe we don't know with him sometimes. It is what it is. But like everyone knew you stole the crown, and like you don't need to say it like that. And the thing is people don't know that I did a lot of album reviews. I've been watching hip hop media for years. Trust, this is still a thing where like this female rapper to the point where like Meg Thee Stallion can't even make a fucking song without being scrutinized funny for having a couple of wits. Like, yo, Oh my god, it drives me nuts. Okay, like once you become like aware of it and you start seeing it everywhere. And I'm not a lady, obviously. I don't have to go through this shit. But at least I can acknowledge to you publicly that it's a real fucking thing and it's kind of fucked up.
No, it's definitely a real fucking thing. It's definitely a real thing. Um, I mean, you mentioned something, the fact that all these female artists have to always have the accompaniment of a man in order to come out on the scene. It's, we're living in a patriarchy, so it's that, and rap is male dominated. So, it's like the female has to be co-signed by this male rapper or whoever he may be in order to seem legit. So it's like it's an issue. Every female rapper, like you said. So like Missy had Timbo, Little Kim had Puffy, Biggie, Foxy Brown, Jay-Z. The list goes on. The
No,
list goes
and it's
on, and
like to the point where they would like look for their girl because it became
yeah.
fashionable to have like a woman in your crew. I don't remember which one of them, but that's why they quit the group. It may have been Eve, it may have been somebody else. One of the stories, that's why they quit. It was like, yo, I was just like, that's some fucking bullshit. I don't want to be your token, whatever, whatever. And then they expect you to play a role. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not even like that. Like, they write your anyway. It gets real deep when you go into
That's
it.
that's the other problem, though. You're saying it, though. You're saying it, Holden. That's the other
Oh,
problem. They want you to play a role. They want you to play a role. So they're getting you in order to. They're getting the female of their choice in order to have her play whoever they want to reflect for their company or for their label. So it's a real thing, and you're not allowing the artist herself to be the artist herself because they want you to play this constant role, and they start the ghostwriting, they start telling you how to be, how to dress. So we're missing out on so much of talented individuals because they're always trying to label them and box them in, you know yeah.
I feel like I don't fully know personally. Like I would be lying to you if I were to like fully say I know, but I've definitely noticed some things that are like, yo, this is weird. So like when I see Scotty Beam talking about supporting women on fucking Twitter, I'm like, yo, maybe she's got a point. Because I watched State of the Culture where Joe Budden didn't react real nice to her. Maybe she had a
Mm-hmm.
point. Maybe Joe Budden didn't like the point. Then she stopped being there. I'm like, that's interesting. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I think she
Mm-hmm.
quit. I don't think it was the other way around. She seemed to have like stuck it to them proper. But like, I don't know. Like some of this shit gets kind of fucking weird. And like then you see a Tierra Whack, who is one of the most interesting artists I've ever encountered. And you're like, nah, nobody's telling her what the fuck to do. She's just being her. And it's kind of like, it's not really my cup of tea, but my girlfriend loves Tierra Whack. I don't fully
Mm-hmm.
get it, but she fucking loves it. So I'm like, yo, look at that. Like, if people let people be, maybe like more people could get like connecting to shit that means something to them.
That's it. So that's it. So just what I was trying to say before, you just reiterated it because you're missing so much of the individual by boxing them in and putting them on the label status as to how they should behave and how they should be, you know? Well, sorry, no, you don't know. You just told me you don't know.
I barely
But
know. I'm trying. That's
but
why.
you know.
That's why it's
But
cool
you
to
know.
have you here because I feel like you're more willing to speak on it than other people might.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's something that's it's a problem because it also diminishes the artist herself and the value of the artist herself. You start hearing that, oh, she has a ghostwriter, she doesn't even write her own stuff, this, that, and the other. Uh, you know, it diminishes the value, the authenticity
Mm. Yeah, that's actually
of
kind of
the
big,
artist.
right? Like, so if I understand correctly, like you in this context, you get signed, hypothetically, big chance. The next thing you know, they're like, "Yo, you gotta let this dude write your shit." Then it comes out because it's kind of illegal not to put that credit somewhere, you know. Or maybe they do it. Maybe they do hide that shit. I don't know how much they follow the laws with that kind of stuff.
They probably do hide that shit. How many ghostwriters do you know of? and you know a lot. So,
Yeah, it's a fair point, eh? I really don't know
mm,
what's going on there. I suppose you can sign the
no,
rights away if you really put anything in
of
the
course you
contract.
can.
I had to
You can
think
do
that through.
anything apparently.
Um, or you
Yeah,
can just
because as soon as you put it in the contract, you're like, it might be exclusive, non-exclusive, depending on the words they use or how they
mm,
state the agreement. They could write it off. Definitely. Definitely.
yeah, it's true though. That's it. But I come to think of it, there's got to be a whole community of ghostwriters up in this city, and nobody's told me a damn thing about a damn thing. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking look for it. I probably won't tell anything but I still want to know. But like, that's nuts to think about, eh?
You could make a whole career off of ghostwriting if you write that well.
Yeah, I wanted to look into it once, but I'll be real with you. It was a real fucking and then I got high kind of moment in my life. I was a lot younger, and I cared a lot more about smoking weed when I was younger. Uh,
Got you.
I I might be smoking weed now. It's not the same thing in 30 somethings. It's a different reality here. Um, but like, yo, meticulous just pops up. There's tons behind that suit. I get the feeling I'm gonna get this call after. Let me get. But basically, that's so fucking nifty that there's that many ghostwriters. I never even looked into it one time. I'm like, yo, it's not that hard to
Yeah.
write a song. Like, it's not that.
It's not. It's not. But it depends on what the label's asking you for. Can you write what they're asking you for? Can you write something that'll appeal to the masses? You know? Are you writing something that can appeal to a specific generation they're trying to target? Because nothing is done for nothing. Nothing is for nothing.
Yo, I love what you're
So
saying because what I'm hearing, because if you're a writer, all you got to do is find the right label that fits you, not the other way around.
yeah,
That's dope. That's a nifty fucking
yeah,
play. That's a play I never thought of before this conversation.
yeah.
Woof.
But if you're an even better writer, you can work for many labels.
That's true. But I was just assuming it out like, well, I'm not even talking about myself. Like, it's just kind of my brain goes abstract with it. Like, yo, this is in because even like the shittiest one style, like all I can do is this writer can still find a person willing to buy that shit.
Yes, yes. But if you're versatile, you can be dropping bombs everywhere and nobody knows. Oh, I'm with Arista, I'm with this, I'm with Def Jam, Island or whatever they have, Def Jam, regular, whatever. You could be with whoever because you know how to write that well. It could be a lucrative career.
I swear I never like. So here's the thing. Like, I haven't thought about it. This is why I love this shit. You don't know how much I love conversations and moments like this. I live for this because yo, I'm gonna walk out of this being smarter, and that's just the best kind of thing you can do on a fucking Monday night. Now I
True.
have Meticulous and Merker both talking about how there's more money in writing like that, and I'm like, when you got two producers jumping in there, producers know about money, right? More than I
They,
feel like me as a rapper knows about money. So like producers are just all like, so when they talk about, I'm like, and Sereni-T saying it, that's a lot of signals saying this is some interesting, and it's not necessarily even for myself. It's for like who the fuck's watching this and maybe gets inspired and now wants to be a fucking ghostwriter.
there you go.
I don't know. That's
There
why
you
the
go.
knowledge nuggets and bridging gaps and all that stuff. That's what we do. We're doing it. We're bridging the
We're
gaps
doing
now.
it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
That's fucking dope, though. For real, I keep saying it because it's so cool. Like, my brain's already still going, yo, ghostwriting's nifty. Because, anyway, that's a whole other thing. I mean, even if you can, because especially if you can record a reference track at home, that, like, changes up shit,
Hmm.
too. Because, like, yo, that
Yeah,
makes it, a reference track for people is like when you basically map out the flow of what you had in mind
exactly.
for that shit.
Exactly. That makes it even better because now you're just giving them everything they need. All you have to do is copy paste.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's it's amazing. Yo, this is a dope conversation. I love this music industry shit. But we got to
Yeah,
get back to your life because we also got to talk
that's
about your life, and then we're gonna talk about more. And it's just that's what it is. That's why it goes on as long as it does. Cause yo, you're too interesting. It's not my fault. Um, if we go back to like Sejap, you're doing these freestyle battles. Uh, or a freestyle thing? I'm not you did them. I'm just trying to bring my brain back to what I was remembering.
I didn't actually do them.
But they
I
existed.
would do them like at I would do them at parties. People would see me at parties and I'd snatch the mic because I felt like it. So snatch the mic and just do a little 1 2 1 2 verse and gone about it, mash up the place and make the people them, swoon and thing. And then that's it. I told you we'd be doing a lot of that too. My apologies.
Nah, it's
For the
so cool when you do
show.
it. I swear I watch people sometimes because they can do that. I could not like fly like that's a level of code switching of dialect that like I find mad impressive. And just the way you can swap it and it just felt so organic, like nah, we in this vibe now in my head, so it's gotta be this shit.
That's
Like
right.
you don't have to
That's
worry.
right.
This is who Serenity is. Just be Serenity. It's dope. No apologies
Facts.
necessary.
Facts. So yeah, in college I'm doing like little freestyles at parties. My friends know about it. My friends and I were trying to make little CDs. I made like a bogus ass song off of the Fruity Loop. No, true story. It's so many boguses, it's not even funny. Okay. I made a Fruity Loop beat and the beat, like I still have the song somewhere. Don't ask me to play it because I don't really know where it is, but I have it somewhere. And I made a little beat. It sounded cute, but it was on a Fruity Loop, not compressed, all weird. And anyway, I decided, yeah, let's record this and let's send this to, I think, who was it at the time? Virgin or Mix 96 or Hot Q90? I don't know. We tried to send it to somebody. And the person was like, it's not up to standards. But they did reply. So that was all I needed. The fact that they replied and at least said it's not up to standards told me you have to do a lot better. And like I'm rapping on the song and the beat is just awful because I was feeling myself. I was like, yeah, I could do this. And no, I couldn't make that beat. And the flow was okay still. I always had flow when I rapped. I always had swag. I always had bars. But it was just the beat was horrible and the recording. I think I recorded it off of a MP3 player or something weird like that. And I don't know who told me at that time that you should send that into a radio station.
Yeah, but like if you flip that, somebody told you to do that, and the reverse was somebody thought you were good enough to encourage.
True.
And then you just told me that motivated you heavy to get good, as the kids would say. So
That's true.
evidently, something positive
That's
came
true.
out of that moment in a huge way. But also,
That's true.
it's another lesson that we all got in mad ingenuity. People are constantly paralyzed by this idea that they need shit to achieve shit. One of them is, I put so little effort in my graphics on Twitch. I just rolled with it. I figured if the content's still up, they'll fuck with it. And people keep talking to me about graphics on Twitch. And I'm like, my guy, just fucking go live with the worst shit ever. Who cares? Get started.
Yeah.
You kind of did that with your track. Yo, you recorded some shit when you was mad young. How many people just put it off, waited, and then one day you got it to a radio station all by yourself? That's not insignificant. Serenity. Just
it's not insignificant, but it was so bad. Like I guess it was a bad choice, but I mean it wasn't a bad choice. If you understand what I mean, it was just like
yeah.
Why did I think this was okay? Is what I'm saying. But I guess like you said, I was young, and in the industry, I was just like, yeah, let me do it because I was so excited about it, and I really liked the song honestly at that time, but in retrospect, I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing?
You were being
But
excited and passionate.
yeah,
And you're
way
probably
too
doing
excited.
it. Yeah, but it's not. Yo, listen, I made a Fruity Loops beat. It's trash. It's still on Reverb Nation. There you go. You can all listen to it. It's still on Reverb Nation. I wrote the song. I recorded it at Dude's crib. Beats, gosh, awful. It's actually real similar to your story, except that I left it on the internet because the fuck do I care? I'm just like that. Whatever. I did it. It's out. What am I going to do? Take it down? I can't take it down. You
That's
sent it to
true.
a radio station. I put it on the internet. Not exactly like the same thing.
No.
But you also were bold, yo. people don't like
Very.
do that shit. Okay, so listen, you know how hard rejection is to face when you're in your mid-30s after spending a decade on a song? Imagine you chose that route.
True story.
You got like the lucky
True
version, I
story.
would say, because you sent in
True
something,
story.
and then by the time you got there later on,
True story. Yeah, they said thank you for your entry. It's not up to par. It's not. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. But yeah, no, you're right though. You're right. You're right. You're right. Because that was a jump starter. You know, that was a jump starter. That was a kicker
I
for
know
sure.
for me, having the reaction to how shit that beat was made me decide that it might be worth it to find people who made beats. I don't know. You seem to have. I got the feeling that it was a little bit of a motivation for you to go, maybe I'm not the beat person.
Definitely, definitely. That was a jump start for learning about producers, even producers in Montreal, going to shows to perform. There, if I'm jumping ahead a little bit, there was what was it called? It was a cipher battle, or just a cipher, where we would use the beats of Montreal artists, just like you did in your last
Oh,
live.
wow. Somebody did
Um,
that already?
oh yes,
I had no idea.
but in person, in live, like in
Yeah,
in
still.
a
To me,
well,
it's just like this is replicatable
in the
in life.
basement.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
did that? That is so cool.
This was done by Max Lupesi. I think that's how I
Straight
pronounce
the
his last
fuck
name.
up. He is in my DM sometimes. I think he's doing a
Yeah,
book now.
correct. He has written a book.
No
I believe
shit.
it's on sale now. And yeah, he had a event called Beat Wave. I believe it was every month or twice a month, and we'd go to the basement and we would freestyle cipher on just some Montreal artists instrumentals. Such a beautiful thing. And that's where we would network because we were in person, we were live, we would meet each other. We'd say, I like your beat. Can I use it? How much do you, we would network. How much do you charge for a beat? Do you have a package? Do you have a site? Et cetera, et cetera. So we do that. And that's more or less where I started to develop my voice. Mind you, I always had the flow because the flow is in here first before it comes out. So, but it was just developing, like the networking and just working with people and freestyling, catching the vibe. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
like literally know because like I feel like you are straight up describing what we're trying to put together back in the day. Like
Yeah, it has happened.
I mean,
Matter of fact, I think he was still doing it up until COVID.
no shit. I had no
Yeah,
idea. Like straight
yeah.
up. Like I've known him for a minute, but like I don't know him, right? I think he brought Locksmith in and I met him
Yes,
at
he did.
I went to that show and that's where I
Yes, he
met him.
did.
And then he
Hmm.
thought I was a comic. And I was like, I don't know what made you think I'm a comic, but we didn't talk a lot after that because I told him I'm a rapper. And then
Okay.
I'm like,
Well, were you being funny, Holden? Because
I
you
like
you have
busted this
you
like
have
nah straight up. I jumped on the bombs over Baghdad beat and ripped that shit proper. Okay, how the fuck you gonna like? You know what I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but literally that's what I
mm,
did. Bonnie was there. That shit got used in footage after of me rapping with his little water. Like I'm holding a water. I'm like, how did you get to comic? I'm so
okay,
confused. Like,
okay. In
and
that
then you
sense,
go
okay,
click on my social media. I have, like, I'm confused. I'm not saying it's implausible. Maybe I'm a funny dude. I don't really think I'm funny. Other people keep telling I don't really think I am. So that
you
means
don't
it's
think you're funny?
I'm whatever y'all find are funny is not shit I'm doing on purpose. I might do more of it
Okay,
because I feed off the reaction of people, but like
okay,
if I try and be funny, y'all are like, fuck off. And you give me like dead ass terrible looks and shit. And then like when I'm just like talking and shit, people are like, oh, you're fucking jokes. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't understand humor to like regular peoples and stuff. Like it don't make no sense to me. So I don't even try anymore. I just accept the zen of the situation.
Yeah, accept the Zen. Accept the Zen. So yeah, we would do the beat wave vibe, and that's where I was really like, how would you say, honing in on my skills, if I can say that. Um, yeah.
Yo, that's mad
And
cool. No, I'm not even
yeah,
playing. Like you
it
blew
was
my
good.
mind level of mad cool.
Matter of fact, I think I met Sammy CC there once or twice.
Yeah,
True
she's cool.
story. Yeah, true story. So yeah, that's what's going around. That's what's going on around college time, and more of the heads in the books, um, and working, like always on the grind, always hustling, always making sure I have some, something to take care of myself and my family if ever need be. So that's what's up.
All right. So then I suppose you're now sharpening skills, but what happens after you start sharpening skills then? What's like the next phase of your life, including?
Next phase of my life, sharpening skills. Then I decide to come out with, there's a gap of time where I'm just predominantly writing, but now I'm writing raps. I'm not writing poems anymore. Now it's raps, to the point that it's full songs, to the point that it has hooks, it has the verses, it has the chorus, it has everything. It has the vibe, it has everything. So I'm writing whole songs, and honing in on my skills, getting my voice, learning how to breathe, because when I rap, I like to move too. So that's the other thing. Excuse me, when I perform, I like to
Yo,
move. So
can you elaborate on that I learned to breathe thing? I know exactly what you mean, but it's one of those things where people who have no idea what you're talking about really don't know what you mean. So can you elaborate on just breath control and how important that is a little bit, all that good stuff?
for sure, when you're performing, especially if you are a performer who likes to perform, dance, and have a lot of movement to your story or to your music, you have to know how to control your breath. Even if you're not performing and dancing, you have to know how to control your breath for every word and rhyme that you're going to spit. When the whole world's boy, Eminem, decides to spit his tracks where he's spitting, I don't know, like 7 words per second, he has understood, and he has figured out, he has decoded breath control to a point that is um, exceptional. So you have to learn how to control your breath with the words that you speak. You know,
How would you
if
practice
I
that?
I, I don't know how to.
How would you practice that? Like, let's say, how would you like suggest to somebody else how to improve on that shit?
If I could tell them how to improve on it, just rehearse your songs. I mean, or rehearse songs of individuals that rap quickly, perhaps. I'm not too sure, but I guess that would be my best advice. Rehearse rehearse the fast rappers like Twista. If you ever try to, rap a Twista verse, you're gonna get a tongue tie. You ever try to rap a Logic's verse, you're gonna get a tongue tie. You try to rap Eminem's verses, you're gonna get a tongue tie. So I think that would be the best way.
Yo, that's real
Yeah,
dope because I fucks with
yeah.
karaoke. I don't know if you ever heard of hip hop karaoke.
Nah.
It's some shit in Montreal D Shade was hosting. I didn't know who D Shade was back when D Shade was hosting this, which is just a whole other thing. But yo, you're at La Belmont and there's no words. You just get up on that
Mm,
stage and you rip the track like it's your own track. I got real fucking
really?
into that shit. It is 1,000% the most impactful thing on me being a performer, because every time you go back, and for a year it was like every month. Every time I went back, I would do somebody different. So I did Hobson the first time, I did Ludacris the next time, I did some Tupac at some point, you know, did Tech Nine. I did Party Up. That was my like fucking go-to. That is my like, if you throw that shit on, I can rip it word for word with the fucking beat and kill it every time fucking track. Anyway, it was fucking mad blessed. And it taught me a lot about a lot of the things you're describing. Like, I've done Rap God. You have to find them. They all exist. You will always find the holes where Eminem breathes, except for the part where he puts the hype man up. Yeah, watch the live videos. It's actually really helpful. You'll see exactly where Eminem fucking breathes, and when the hype man comes up, you have to accept there's a good chance Eminem had no way to do it proper, and it was studio that made that magic happen.
Yeah.
And there's one part of Rap God where it's studio magic in the fast part.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the best way I could describe how to hone in on those skills.
Amazing.
Practice. Look at your the artists you admire, you know, and look at the ones you want to be like, in the sense of rap flow. You will find out how to control your breath in that sense. For me, it was like Busta Rhymes. You know, I love Busta. He's one that I really, really do love. And, you know, he's been having that rap flow, and since, I don't know, 19, how long? Like 19, whenever he came out, like 1989, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a long time ago, right? So it's nothing new. So he's definitely one of the rap gods, especially for the fast raps. That's, you know, he's double timing, triple timing. He's just going. It's crazy.
No, it's for real. I love Busta Rhymes' flow. He was straight up from that Scenario remix to like today doing it proper. But what's cool about Busta Rhymes is that he's also able to do like the calm, slow regulars too, and he would mix that into it so that you got a complete package on a Busta project.
Speaking of complete package, one of the things I really do appreciate about Busta is his Caribbean influences too, right? Okay. So, you know, he's a Yardie, so he has that influence, and you can hear it in his music. Also, he was like one of the first artists to really mix and mingle and incorporate other reggae artists in the hip hop scene, you know? With his remixes, like with Bounty Killer, and who else did he do a remix with? Benz and Beamers. Yeah, Bounty Killer, I think it was. So, yeah, I really appreciate him. So when you talk about completeness, definitely
I love how
he's definitely an artist.
But I love the angle you took with that. That's huge. I see where your heart's at. Yo, so people don't often think a lot about the roots, right? And so for you, it's like Busta Rhymes is from this place, and in his position, he made sure to bring where he's from into this thing to give it a chance. So, you know, that's where your heart's at. It's in the roots of the situation. And I think that's fascinating. That's why I wear this hat, right? Like, because I realized, like, yo, I might go talk to some people. I should at least wear the hat. Let people see where we're at, you know? It's what you're doing with your shirt. I think it's
true.
It took me a really long time to learn that lesson, though. So to hear how important it is to somebody like you is really big. You know, you have to, like, care about where you're from and make sure that your past is, like, reflected accordingly.
Definitely, I'm with you on that 110%. But also, it's not just my roots; it's the roots of rap. Period.
Ooh.
Rap was created by a Caribbean gentleman named DJ Kool Herc. He's Jamaican, of Jamaican descent. So it's not even just my roots; it's the roots of the thing that I'm in love with. So.
No, that's big. Those are some big ones, man. Like, that's where, like, yo, my guy Ismail just dropped my knowledge nugget emote on that, because it's big facts. Sometimes I don't think people even stop to think about how far back hip-hop goes. People, like, if we want to just pivot to it, like, when people talk about the golden era, like, it's like the original hip-hop. It's like, it's kind of an expansion pack, if you think about it. It's not really the original. The original And I've gotten the pleasure of talking to a few New York cats who told me about growing up in Bronx and Harlem and some shit. So I got to hear a little bit about the parties and how the shit was just everywhere on the streets and da da da. It wasn't really like MCs in front of a stage rocking shit. That's the expansion pack to the culture,
Mhm.
in the way that
Mhm.
other things were expansion packs to it. So I love that,
Mhm.
the way that you bring it back to it, and then you correlate it to that, because I didn't think of that, and I probably should have thought of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I think it's an important factor that gets overlooked quite too often. And like you're talking about bringing it back to my younger days, I remember going to New York. I was like 9 or 10, and I fell in love once again with the hip hop scene. You see hip hop everywhere. You see rap. We put on the TV in Montreal. We don't see none of these things. We don't see none of this in Montreal. What? We are watching all kind of thing because it's their culture, and we're in the same decade. We're in the same time frame, but Montreal was, I don't know, we were just quiet about rap. I think rap started to become popular the last 10 years in Montreal, to be very honest with you. I feel that way.
Okay, no, yeah, I see
Um,
what you. Well, I think social media put a spotlight on what was happening. That's something that was possibly
Possibly,
hidden, but there was
but to say that rap was nurtured in Montreal as it's been in other places, absolutely not.
not at all.
So I remember going to New York when I was like 9 or 10, and we went to a blocko. A blocko, if I don't know if you know what a blocko is, but a blocko is like a street party. It's like an organized event. That's a street party. They have kind of like when we have Under Pressure. Have you ever been to Under Pressure,
Just the last one,
Montreal?
the last one.
Okay,
But no, I know what it
so
is. So I'm with
okay,
you enough to like follow
okay,
what you're saying. Yes.
okay. So we went to a blocko, and it's a whole party. DJs are spinning, and sometimes there's more than one DJ from one end of the street to the next. So we're vibing, we're dancing, and I'm also vibing and dancing at 9, 10 years old because this is grand. This is like, what the hell is this? I love this place, And I think that's when I honestly fell in love with New York. At one point in time, I was like, this is the spot because you feel the energy, you feel the culture, I mean, I felt at home. I felt at home, and I felt like, it was such a good time. You're hearing music that you cannot hear in Canada, in Montreal, and you're just feeling that energy, the hip hop vibe. You're seeing the clothing, you're seeing the fashion, the cross colored shirts at that time. You're seeing all kind of stuff. Like, it's crazy. It's like it was really dope. Like, just, so once again, like when I say I'm like soaked in hip hop, like I was in that experience. I was in that vibe, seeing the turntables spinning, seeing the b-boys dancing, and this is me at a young age just
So
witnessing this.
cool.
So yeah, it really was. And then my brother's just like taping everything off of the VHS because when we go back to Montreal, we want to have all the good stuff, right? So that we can play it on the VCR on repeat.
Not for real. I'm following all of this. I'm processing it, but I just want you to know I'm following all of this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Why it's really cool is because, yo, like, I never thought about how not available it was before this conversation.
it,
And
it was dry.
I don't think I've talked to anybody that was like, yo, I was young and I went there and I came back and it's mad different before. And like that's so like cool. But then even thinking about the smuggling of the VHS's back and all of this, that actually relates to like another interview I had where somebody was telling me that's how they got into music, was like doing that kind of shit. They would just like copy the MTVs and stuff. And I thought about it and I'm like, yo, much music wasn't lit like that. Like it really wasn't. Like I mean, it's
Mm-mm.
just not, at least when I was in high school and shit. Like it just, I mean, much vibe was okay, but like okay is the right word for it. So yo, you're dropping huge context nuggets here, cause like I think we all need to learn this kind of stuff slowly, and I don't know what it all means, but it's certainly worth thinking about.
I mean, definitely worth thinking about because I remember when we came back from New York, my brother actually stayed longer because he got a contract, like he got work there to do construction or whatever at that point in time. And I remember coming back, putting in the tapes, and we're playing them for our friends, and our friends are like so hyped because it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, you have such new shit. Um, Only to see those actual videos out on like Vibe or our Rap City or whatever we had, maybe 2 years later.
No shit. That's a serious
2 years
turnaround.
later. 2 years later. And it's like, why 2 years? This came out in so and so, like, I don't know the actual, like, I don't know when it came out, but imagine there's a time lapse from when we saw it with our own two eyes to when it's actually coming out in Montreal, and it's 2 years.
Yo, that's
Two
mad big if you
years.
think about why,
So
like,
2 years has. Mm-hmm.
so if you think about that New York attitude of, yo, we the hot ones, we ahead of the world. And you
That's
think about,
passe.
but if you think
That's
of,
passe.
if you think about the attitude, it's probably linked to that shit, right? Because that would have been
Mm-hmm.
real, right? Like, even in other parts of the states and shit, it probably still took a minute to circulate. If, and I'm not saying, or all over the states, like certain places would have had like hot markets for it, and other places it had to trickle to up until the internet came through, right? Because syndication isn't exactly the same thing in like 1995 as it is today. It's not like they were all organized like that shit that you see on TV now at the news circuits. Nah, it was like mad, like stuff had to actually circulate unless you had labels.
Yeah.
So like that's super
Yeah.
nifty. That explains some
Yeah.
shit to me. Not like, and I
Yeah.
agree. The world has evolved and the internet equalized a lot of things. Like, cause
Exactly.
even when I'm like, if you think about like when we're young, albums always had a different release date than the states. Like Canada had a separate release date like the rest of the world. Now Canada gets the same thing because of the internet, and we're in the same time zones. But trust, places
Yeah.
with different time zones don't always get the same release dates to this day.
Yeah. But our time zone was 2 years later though. That's what killed me because I was like, why are we only seeing this like now? This is old shit.
It's
And it literally was like a time capsule is the weirdest thing. It's like, whoa, 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 why are they acting like this is new? We're seeing this on like Groove, whatever
it
the
was
channel was on Music Plus or whatever.
there was much vibe
Um,
was like at one point in the 2000s. I don't know about before that. So in the 90s I don't know shit, but in the 2000s it was much
no
vibe and
much
much loud.
vibe. No, but on Music
Oh,
Plus,
there
not
was
the
there a version
Toronto
of that?
version.
Was there? I
Yes.
didn't know there was a. Okay, I didn't even know. I
Yeah,
wasn't
there
watching.
was, and it was like it was animated by a girl named Varda or another female, I don't know, but it was predominantly in French, but they would play English music videos.
Straight up, I
Yeah,
probably don't know it. I don't know the name of this for
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah. So it was at the same time with Much Vibe, and because Much Vibe was based in Toronto, whereas Ontario that is, whereas this one Groove or Rap, whatever I forget what it was called, man, was based in Montreal at Music Plus. So Music Plus right
Okay,
there on St. Catherine. So
I like
yeah,
music
and
plus.
2 years later, that's the time frame. That's the time zone. Two
But
years
yo,
later. So
imagine that
that's
though.
passe. That's old shit.
So you notice because you happen to notice, but imagine everybody else who's watching this. Let's just think of the next implication. Now everybody acting like this, that fresh and new.
Exactly, and that's why I remember telling someone they were like, "Oh, did you see that new thing on Because they were watching the show like Groove Station or Vibe or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, that's old, bro." And they're like, "What do you mean that's old?" I said, "I have it on VHS. It's old." And they're like, "Oh,
That's amazing.
oh, oh." So yeah, I mean, and that just goes to show, like I said, hip hop wasn't nurtured in Quebec and Montreal like it is now. Some people will say, oh, hip hop started around the same time in the States, in Canada, excuse me, as in the States. No, It didn't. And if it did, it definitely wasn't nurtured like it was in the States.
Mm.
So how can a child that's not nurtured grow? She can't, or he can't. So that's the story. That's where we are at now. And that's why now, because it's being nurtured, it's growing. We're gonna have whole live TV shows with hip hop, fin de faible.
Yeah,
Um, you know what I mean?
I do.
So
That's huge, actually.
so it's big now, but
It's been. I've been telling people for a minute. Is this decade that is gonna be the decade? Like when I say the decade, I think you've actually quantified something that I think people mean and they've been using the wrong language for. Put it on the map. That's been a weird statement to me because I know what people are trying to say, but I think you described it much better. Make it mainstream. As in, like, you go everywhere in Montreal and it's hip hop because people in the regulars love it that much. That is, I think, what everyone's waiting for when they say put it on the map. Is that the city is like fucking around with the music in the way that everyone's hoping for it to happen. And I think you're right, man. Not man, sorry. It's just a flow. I'm trying to like watch my like P's and Q's more, and the only way to condition myself is to almost chastise myself in real time. Anyhow, but it's like on mainstream television, yo, there's gonna be a whole bunch of 6-year-olds that are gonna grow up watching Fin de Fable right now, right? Think about
yep.
that. That's not like a thing that like fucking existed when we were young. Like I'm hearing what you're saying and really processing it, right? And countering it
Hmm.
with that, and then plus all the grant money flowing into labels and shit, and all the hip hop is being used by the Quebec government. I saw an English rapper got paid to do an ad to tell us to stay the fuck home and social distance in Montreal. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, yo, an English rapper got paid by the Quebec government to do his song. That's like a level of shit that you do not expect to see. But I hear what you're
No.
saying. That's a level of nurturing that does mainstreamify things in a way where it normalizes it more. And yo, I hear what you're saying. I think, and it's fucking big.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely important to nurture um, the talent, the culture, um, but also keep the culture the culture.
Mm.
And the culture has inclusivity. The culture of hip hop and rap has always been inclusive. Even when it was predominantly Black and Latino, it's always been inclusive. So for me, you lose an essence of the culture when you start to make it what you want instead of what it already is. And rap is a giant, so rap doesn't want to be changed. Rap wants to stay exactly how it was meant to be. Hip hop is a little wishy washy, but rap does not want to be changed. So
Yo, that's huge.
keep the
Can you?
culture, keep.
You gotta expand on that. That's a big, interesting statement. I kind of get what the fuck you mean when you differentiate hip hop and rap here. But now we have to break that down a little bit for the people that maybe don't know what you mean because we bridging gaps.
So for me, rap is the big brother. Hip hop is a little sister. She has a lot more R&B influence. She has a lot more pop influence, and she's just hip. She's fashionable, hence hip hop. Rap is the rules. Rap is the book. Rap is the brother. It's the one who has set the tone, and it's the one who is literally in charge. I don't know why I'm speaking like this, but I can't explain it any other way. This is how I know to explain it. This is how I know rap. This is how I know hip hop. I love them both, but rap is the rule book. It is the book. And hip hop is the little sister. She can be manipulated, she can be configured a little bit. She's more fluid, whereas rap is a little more set in stone, and it's not seen like that today because they are trying to change rap, but at the end of the day, they'll change it, but it won't be considered rap anymore.
I
It'll be
mean,
considered something
so like even
else. It'll be considered rap because rhythm and poetry, but there's also the culture that goes into
but like
rap.
even
There's
as like a
elements.
comment just popped up and said mumble rap, and I'm like, yeah, but that shit's been rebranded. Nobody's really calling that rap anymore if you're following the trends. That shit's
Exactly.
melodic trap. It is
Yeah.
melodic vocals over trap beats, and that's a dope name for
Yeah.
it. It's not rap.
Yeah.
Why are we calling it
No.
rap? It's a different thing.
It's Yeah, exactly. But if you're getting back to the roots and the essence of rap, you have to go back to the roots and the essence of rap, you know? And this is the beauty of rap because rap is an entity. So much so that he has evolved. He has evolved. He's evolved to not only his little sister hip hop, but to other forms of himself, and that's where the longevity lies, is the fact that he can evolve. So
That was
I
blessed.
mean, that's me and my rap thing. I mean, love my rap, so me just do
I
want to go
swear,
into it.
like I could listen to you talk about this shit for hours because that's what I do, but also because you're extra interesting. That was so fucking profound. I've never heard anybody put it like that. Okay, like literally, the way you framed it is very interesting. I know a lot of the ideas by very different language in a very different framing. Same ideas,
Mm,
very different framing. So hearing you
yeah,
put it like that to me is just eloquent. It's kind of why I love this shit because I would never get the opportunity to hear the way you described it like that with like the sister versus the brother and the rules. And if you think about rap, it's like people like what they fucking like when they're really into rap, and it's always the same thing. They want the bars, they want the fucking this, but they also want the that. And to make a rap album, there's a bunch of rules to follow, and it requires its toolkit more than just one thing.
yeah,
But you go look at
because you have.
no, go ahead.
Sorry, no, you go.
You go look at all the classic albums of hip hop, and I say that because I did that. Not all of them, but 150. We're about to do episode 151, so that's a lot of albums that are
Wow.
classics, right? Um,
Yeah.
they all have rules to them. The ones that are good, they tell stories. So the whole album tells a story. So there's a lot of storytelling in it, right? Um, now the individual tracks are allowed to be versatile now, as long as they move the global narrative. That's where you get away with it. But all the tracks have to be different. And I say tracks
Hmm.
because even your fucking skits have to be different. Get the fuck out of here with 7 skits that's a phone call with some shit I'm never gonna understand. I get it, your homeboys understand it. I don't understand that shit. But like you gotta keep your shit alive and versatile to move along this global narrative or it feels weird and disjointed. The best albums will have unique experiences on each track, but not necessarily unique song content identity, and the perfect example of that is Method Man and Redman's The Blackout. They ain't say shit for 13 songs and it's blessed.
That's true.
They said
That's
fucking
true.
nothing. I
That's
swear
true.
they said nothing the whole album.
That's true. But they were fun. They were entertaining.
Kind of like Lil Yachty. Whoops.
Yeah, they were fun. They were entertaining, and that's what's important. Also, not only that, but the beats were heavy too, right? Some of the beats made you want to move. Some of the beats made you want to just chill. Some of the beats, there was, like you said, versatility. And like when you're looking back to the roots of it, like you rap, what's an element of rap? What are the 4 or 5 whatever elements of rap? You have your DJ, spins, you got the scratching. Sometimes you do a little 1 2 scratch, okay, and then you have the b boys. Why do you have the b boys? Because people want to dance.
Mm.
You know what I mean? People want something they could rock with. You know what I mean? You also have MCing. You have the bars mans or bars woman. You know, so it's a thing. It's a whole thing. So even if they didn't say anything in particular on their album for 13 songs, they covered every other element, the rules of rap.
But even if you
So
go back to the
it
idea of saying something on songs, that's you're right. They might not at an individual level, but there's an emotional vibe where it feels like you
yeah,
go out for the night. Like it gets rowdy and then it like kind of comes down and shit. Like there's a vibe to it, and I feel like that's what people like don't necessarily understand that And I say that because I see a lot of conversations on the internet where people like lock in on one element of lyricism and forget that there's like more elements to songwriting. And you can rap as a songwriter and literally say fucking nothing, or be like a Biz Marquee, where like literally that guy's goofy on purpose because it's like his
Mm-hmm.
character. Like, yo, we have this theory that we've been working on that. Shut up, my homeboy Nuclear Convoy, because he invented it, but I started testing it where like rap is mad connected to comic books and wrestling in the similarity point where you create a character like a superhero or a villain where you personify XYZ thing and you put that shit on the wax to tell your story. Which is kind of what actually happens in wrestling and comic books. Even if wrestling that you
Interesting.
see on the WWE is poorly executed, underground wrestling is lit with the storylines and shit. Like it's not the same thing as
Okay.
what you would expect with like whatever. But yo, it's like these people take their characters mad serious. It's like everything you would put in the proper branding behind the character. Like Serenity's not random. You created a character that is called Serenity. That's the
Yeah.
character we're speaking to today. You know, like to a degree there's the person, but like you're on cam, of course it's like that. I'm on cam. We're all like on our character mode a little bit. We know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like in a ways we're superhero versions of ourselves. It's true.
I could take that. I will take that. I'll definitely take that.
Or like
I'll definitely take that.
I think MF Doom is a great, more like literal example of it, but it's also a great way. He created the Doomiverse. It's like a whole
Mm-hmm.
universe of interlinked characters and stuff. Anyway, that was just that little thing.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm not familiar with MF Doom. I know he recently passed away, so rest in peace to MF Doom. But I'm not familiar with his work too,
Fair enough.
so I can't relate to that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's all right. It's like totally fine. We're not always gonna be able to relate on every single thing. It's part of the beauty of life. But yo, I'm curious to know when you started to like develop the character of Serenity. Now that we're on that subject, because we didn't really talk. Were you always Serenity when you were like little Serenity, or were you a different person then and then you became Serenity?
I was not Serenity as a little kid. As a little kid, I was me. I was just a kid, kicking ball, riding bikes, doing stupid shit, or whatever, listening to good music and influenced by that. Going to New York, seeing the swag of New York, going to the Labor Day parade in New York, seeing that, the Caribbean side of that, seeing the energies. When did Serenity come about? Serenity started to come about in my college days, like I mentioned, when I was freestyling at like personal private parties, just doing my thing. And then she just started to evolve and expand into who Serenity is today, um, after Beat Wave or during Beat Wave. Like I told you, the Beat Wave, which is the
Right, right.
cipher session with the Montreal artists and producers. Um, so that's when Serenity really started to become herself. And
How did you get the name?
just from my character, like, because I'm chill, whatever, just that's it. Nothing fancy, just Serenity.
That's a really good way to put it because it like it's just
I don't know
poetic
what to
inside
say.
of itself. Like it's almost a double entendre if you go meta with it. Because you said it all chill and serene. Like anyway, uh,
But it's a, you say it's a double entendre, but at the same time it's an oxymoron when I'm on stage because the vibe is serene. It is a serene vibe, but at the same time the delivery is wicked.
that's
So
true.
it's an oxymoron in and of itself. It's just, yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair. I've
So
seen you
yeah,
deliver. It's very intense. You bring a serious
yeah,
passion to it. So,
yeah.
yo, when did
Thank
you
you.
like start this run of like proper releasing stuff? Like actually like getting into putting out music. Like, I mean, you're ciphering, you're doing things in your life, you're evolving, you're writing. When do you like go fuck it? I'm gonna start doing, and move to that level.
So bringing it to the public to the point that I'm making it absolutely public, no holds bars. Literally, 6 years ago, 2015.
So
2015. I remember one night I was just chilling at home. I was bored. I was like, what's going on? What am I supposed to be doing right now? I'm supposed to be doing something. I just don't know. So I called up a friend and I said, do you know of any jam sessions where an artist or an upcoming artist can vocalize, preferably rap, on like live beats or instrumentals, etc., etc.? And she told me, she said, yeah, I have the perfect place for you. It's with this group, this collective called Urban Science. So she said, you should go there. Actually, you would kill it. You'd love it. So shout out to Christine Data for that. Um, and since that day, she's right. I loved it, and I went there and I killed it. So Urban Science, Urban Science is a collective, and they do, not now because of COVID, but they did a cipher to a live 7-piece band, and they make beats on the fly, just catching the vibe. It's a jam session. Other instrumentalists go up on stage and create beats with them, and they ask or they tell artists, vocalists, whether you're singer, rapper, poet, to come up on stage with them and bless the stage with a verse or two, and then get off and share the stage with other people. I went up, and just I remember being shy because it's been so long since the last time I performed, which was at the Beatwave Vibe. But I went up on the stage, and I remember just spitting whatever it was, 16, 24, I don't remember what it was. But the guy who's the founder, the creator of Urban Science, was like, yo, you're dope. Make sure you come back next week. And
hey,
shouts out to Vincent Stephen Ong for that.
that guy is
Yeah,
mad dope.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he is. He really is. And so I remember that day, that that golden day, and that's where everything started to just flow. After that, I created my EP and I released it with Urban Science at the Cipher, um, which was a very dope experience in itself. So I mean, that's when I started coming out. I started rolling out to the Cipher. I was booked or trying to be booked at least once a month with them, so that I can express my voice and get it out there and let Serenity be seen and heard. And I got a lot of positive feedback from just performing at the Cipher and with the Urban Science team. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. That's a big deal for me. That was the biggest stepping stone for me.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Um,
Yeah.
you know what? It's important, I think, because everyone's grind and what motivated them is going to be kind of different. For me, I got that through hip hop karaoke, for real. A lot of what you're describing,
Mhm.
and that was
Mhm.
dope for me. But like, the cipher is cool. It's the cipher, right? The one that's like the cipher. That's
Yeah.
like, they've been doing it for like 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they're legit AF. Like, we're talking professional musician types. We're talking like a whole on thing. And you're able to rip
Mhm.
it there and get that love. Plus, I understand the vibe
Mhm.
is generally positive, not but like even to rip it there and kill it extra. Not to say you didn't, because Serenity is quite incredible. But like, it's such a cool environment for like people to go through and like practice or to get their game on, or even to get like a chance to play with instruments, which isn't like the easiest thing in the world to do. Like, playing with
Yeah.
instruments as a rapper is sometimes complicated. Like, when you get that moment, like, I remember one time, do you remember Crowbar used to have these like open mics on Wednesday? I don't know if you remember them. All I know is Jay Uno's there one time playing saxophone. And Jay Uno playing saxophone, and I'm fucking freestyling awfully. I'm garbage, okay? I am not able to do this, okay? I'm trash at it, but Jay Uno, it was one of the coolest moments of my life because, like, when do you get to rap over a saxophone like that? Like, that is so fresh.
Never. Yeah.
And the cipher is like the kind of place that happens, if I'm not mistaken.
That the cipher is definitely the type of place that happens. However, we do still want standards. Like
Of
we're
course.
not just looking for anybody to step up on stage. You know what I mean? It's especially as an instrumentalist, like when you're playing the drums, you have to have a certain level, because you're not trying to fuck up the rotation. You know, puff puff give, puff puff give, don't fuck up the rotation. So you want to make sure that you're on point, you're doing the right thing, and you know just getting it to the point that the level that we like. So yeah, when you go to the cipher, that's the vibe. It's positive vibes, but at the same time, you have to come with an A game. So it's not just anybody's gonna go up there and practice. It's not a practice
No,
session.
no. I meant it more like for the experience of at that level. Because as much as like, I don't want to like diminish it like it's some like entry level thing. That's fair. But I know a lot of people that could hold it down. I have no idea that this exists. And it's more for that
Mm,
realm of people. Like, I know a lot of people, probably, like, if I were to comb through my brain, like 50, 60 people that if they knew the cipher existed and had gone through, might even feel a little different about the scene today, type thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I find when we had La Cipher pre-COVID days, it is my one of my number one spots to go to. Number one to network, number two to just vibe, and even like release some energy and self-expression. Always a good time. Always, you gain something when you leave that place. You know what I mean? You gain something, whether it's a new sense of inspiration from somebody else, or a new sense of confidence for yourself. Your first time going up on stage, whatever the case may be, you always leave there with something good. So definitely one of my top spots
I'm like,
to be at.
I'm really
Hmm.
glad you brought that up. And part of it is because I wish somebody had really explained to me what the fuck Le Cipher was prior to meeting Vincent and seeing what he was about. Um,
Yeah.
Because I always saw it as this thing that showed up in my Facebook events Thursdays at 11 p.m. Now, for me, that is just not a very good time slot in my life with my Friday 9 a.m. start times, right? So I basically blew it off for like ever. I never ended up going. And I actually sit there and I'm like, how did I not go once? Like, not one
You
time.
should.
No, I mean, I will when it comes all done. Yo, my whole attitude is different. Yo, once this is done, I'm hungry. I'm hungry like I'm 20 again. But like,
Good.
I also learned to rap better. I don't know that I could have held it down like that, to be honest. Now I think I can hold it down a little better. I don't think I'm like
Well, there you
super
go.
better. But I'm also going to be doing this little training event every little Tuesday for the people that want to get their way up to that level. Wink, wink. That's what we're doing over here.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because we have a cipher. I realize not everyone's gonna know what that means. Sometimes my judgment isn't amazing, but yeah, because we have this cipher, and that's all we're doing now is practicing this shit for a lot of people that are gonna be rusty. And then you practice, and then when that comes back, I don't care. I want to have my A game ready to go, so that I can go
There
to
you
any
go.
place and drop it, rip it, do whatever, and just be prepared. Like we were talking about like luck before, and how like this was before you were on camera, because we were just talking with the chat people about like how luck is just opportunity and preparedness. And in
Mm.
a sense,
Mm-hmm.
what's fucking cool about your story, because a lot of people have real different stories, but a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people's stories start with like a bunch of shit happens. So like, let's say the opportunities, but lacking the preparedness, the longevity is not in play. They fizzles. They have things happen along the way, and they don't necessarily come out strong and stay alive, right? Even myself, I made some fucking stupid ass moves when I was younger. Fucking wasted all sorts of time and shit. But if I look at what you did, is you practiced, you put your effort in, then you found these collectives. Now this shit's nifty to me because collectives is not something I ever thought of before. Like, I guess caring about community, because you kind of have to care about a community to be part of a collective, right? Like it's like you have to
Yeah.
have that interest to even want to go to that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, So now, like, you're in these collectives where obviously you're gonna be with other people, and like, you know what I learned writing. and recording on the internet with a couple people just in the comments, yo, that shit's helpful. Like, you think it's kind of scary in your head and shit. Nah, it's actually really like rewarding and to do it in front of people, because then you find out right quick when you're doing stupid shits. You know how many hours I wasted doing things that were terrible ideas?
It happens.
Yeah. I'm okay with it
It
because I'm
happens.
making much smarter choices now. It's always okay to reflect on terrible choices once you've made like better ones. So it's like, whatever, that's the past. I'm cool. I'm doing smarter things now. That's why like we can all learn from it. But like in your story though, you have this like for years. This isn't like nothing. Yo, I put down top 5, and I say that not hyperbolically. You might think I'm kidding. You might think I'm gassing you up, but I need to have a top 5 at some point, and I've only got 2 names in it right now. So like I say that, but now it's making much more sense to me, because like look at your life. It's got so much of effort and practice and building shit up and like looking into like how to do things right, and even believing in yourself, having like the gusto to send off a track early like that, right? That's not insignificant. All it is, by the way, and we haven't even talked about how dope you are, really, because all of this is the prior to how dope you are. How you got to being dope is all we've really covered at this point. And so you got all of this practicing. And yo, I'm like learning in my head, right? Like that's all I do with this shit. I'm like, yo, Serenity's fucking really good at this. And I don't say that like you guys might know. I went to go see this live show, this Le Chicks Tape concert. Serenity didn't even know I was there. So that's why I have this like little clip of footage of Serenity performing on my computer, because I filmed that shit and I'm like, yo, like you turn that shit up. Like when you said it's kind of an oxymoron. Facts. I can attest to it because I got that experience. I was like front row with my fucking camera, so you're probably like, whatever, camera time. I get it. You don't even notice those people. Let's be real. They have the camera. I'm just being real. I don't. It's what it is. You see in the
I'm
camera.
focused, man. I'm focused. I'm
But
focused.
yo, you just fucking engaged. Yo, you fucking worked this broken ass microphone. And yo, I saw everybody struggling that night. I saw everybody. And you just made it part of your act and shit. Like, yo, it wasn't like whatever. Then she shows up on the end of the week Zoom and does it again in my fucking face. And I'm like, yo, I don't even feel like I actually don't even. Yo, that shit like lights fires in you. Because I was on that same one going too. I did it off the dome, and I'm like, no, this isn't good. I had to get good, you know? Like, so I saw that shit, and I'm like, then I started hearing your music, and I'm like, there's not a lot of people that, like, I loop. When my Spotify list comes out at the end, you're going to see that I actually do play your shit more than other people's. It's not like fucking bullshit. So I really
No,
think you're incredible with, like, a lot of understanding of deeper levels to this music that a lot of people don't get with marketing and how to create hits. Not just something hits. You create hits that are also dope. I'm not saying that yo, my
thank
whole
you.
reviewer reputation's at stake when I say this type of shit, so I can't be lying. I can't. Like it just has to be facts, or I'm not, it's bad news.
I mean, for me, creating music is a blessing in all by itself. When I am creating music, what are my intentions? Well, my first intention is, do I like it? Do I like it? If I like it, not to say that I like everything everybody else likes, but if I like it, I can feel confident to release it. I can feel confident to perform it. I can feel confident to spit what is being said in these bars because I like it. I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. So first foremost, do I like it? Can I listen to it? Because I might like the lyrics, but can I listen to it? Can I actually listen to it like over and over and over? Because if we are talking about rotations and hits and music that plays, some places, like if you go to once again New York, when I was in New York again, this is later dates. This is like Young MA 2018 dates. When I was in New York, they were killing her song, the ooh, that ooh song.
I know what you're talking about.
And they were Hot 97 is known for putting shit on repeat like nobody's business. You would hear that song legit every hour. And every hour that I heard it, I didn't get mad at it that I'm hearing it again. I just found new elements in the song that maybe I liked. So when I listen to my stuff, can I listen to it again? That's the second thing for me. So the first thing is, do I like it? Second thing is, can I listen to it on repeat? And if I can listen to it on repeat, maybe somebody else can listen to it on repeat. If I'm starting to get bored of my own shit and I'm like, oh, why do I sound like that? Like, ew, no. Mm-mm. Then, you know, that's probably what somebody else is going to think.
Yo,
So,
that
can I listen to it? Next is, yeah, I throw in bars lyrically. I like to be lyrical, you know. I like to do the things. And, you know, I think in creation, you need to make it so that you like it and the audience likes it too. So I try to find a nice milieu for just that, you know. So, and is it a hit? I don't even know. Are my songs hits? I like them. I mean, to the point that I like them. Like I said, I could put them on repeat and I could listen to them. So once again, maybe somebody else can do that. So that's the key for me.
Yo, you dropped a really interesting one that I never thought about before. I don't think I ever really sat there and sat on my own shit before. Like actually listened to my own shit for a minute before putting it out.
Sometimes you have to.
Like I was rushed it. Like deadline this, deadline that, gotta get it out, boom, boom, boom. Nobody ever made up the deadlines but me, right? Like I'm not signed to a label. Okay, like who the fuck is telling me this shit's gotta come out on Tuesday this day, you know? Because I made a Facebook post. That was all. I swear, that's what it really was. I'm just being honest with the world because sometimes people need to hear it so they can be honest with themselves. But it's because I made a Facebook post and 15 people might have hit the like button. So I committed my life to deadlines and made really poor creative choices. That was 2020 until the end of 2020 when I got smarter. But no, it really was. I mean, 2020 was a weird year, but like I decided deadlines mattered more than other things, and that was the stupidest thing I ever fucking did with my life.
Sometimes sometimes you just can't rush the process. You gotta let it flow.
Mm,
You gotta let it flow, let it be organic. You're putting a deadline on something that maybe hasn't even come to you yet because you're not even fully inspired yet.
facts.
So, yeah, so, you gotta let it flow. But I mean, that's also what happens in the music industry, like say if you are signed under a label, your album's supposed to be done, I don't know, by April 10th. Why isn't it done yet? You got about five more songs to do. You better do. And for some people, they could work under pressure. They can still make hits under pressure. I mean, I've written a song before in like 20 minutes and recorded the same day. Like I had literally had maybe 20 minutes to write the song so that I'm not late to go record. It has happened because it was on the fly and I got a gift from someone for a free recording session. So it was like, okay, Tamara, you gotta fucking write this shit. You gotta go do what you have to do. Boom. And I wrote it. It was like 20 minutes and done. Recorded it same day. And it sounds pretty good. Actually, it's gonna be on the new album, Carpenter's Daughter. So definitely something you'll hear. Ask me which song. It's called Wetty, by the way. Wetty.
I was planning on asking you, but I was gonna let you finish before I asked you because I've learned that sometimes people answer the questions first. If I just shh, I'm not the best
There
at
you
it,
go.
but I'm just a giant ass work in progress. I'm fucking cool with that. Um,
We all are.
No, it is. It's like dope. By the way, you're incredible, Serenity. I know you didn't want to go past 2 hours, but you just hit 2 hours because you're fucking incredible and you're mad fucking interesting. I'm not even like, yo, we only got to like, what, 2016 stills? There's still like, I don't know anything
Yeah.
really about after that. What did you do? Have you performed? What are all the big stories of the Serenity eras?
2016 was the takeoff. So 2016, I'm with the collective Urban Science. I'm at the cipher almost every week, and sometimes I'm booked almost twice a month, three times a month. Booked with them to perform for 3 hour sets, freestyling, my guy. You understand? So, and this is me still holding down a full time wizard
Hold on,
and
you said you were
doing
freestyling straight for 3 hours, or
when I'm hosting the cipher, this is freestyling straight for 3 hours. Yes. Sometimes we get a break because we have other jammers who come up on stage and they do their thing. And you have two hosts. So like myself, for example, and Wayne Tennant or Militime or Cynical, for example. And we're holding it down for 3 hours with the band. So we're a band, really, and we're holding it down for 3 hours with the band, and we are the hosts of the cipher. So we gotta be present, for those 3 hours. So yeah, yeah. Sometimes we're freestyling for a good, easily 2 hours, if not full 3 hours, because we're holding it down. We're the host. We have to do what we got to do, and it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. It challenges you. It asks you, do you have it? Do you have enough bars for 2 hours? Do you have enough bars for 45 minutes? Sometimes I remember one song, it was like a trap song, and I think I was tired, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let me make a trap song on the spot about chicken in the back, because we sell food at the cipher. So we had chicken selling in the back. So I made a trap song about chicken selling in the back because the chef was about to close up shop. So I was like more or less pointing people, go get the chicken in the back. And it was a whole trap song with a hook called Chicken in the Back. I mean, it challenges you. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It challenges you.
yeah, that
And
sounds blessed.
sometimes, and yeah, man. And that's how you know True say also that it's really a freestyle. She's talking about chicken in the back. She didn't write about chicken in the back. She's not going to sit down writing about no damn chicken in the back. So, you know what I mean? It's all bars. It's all freestyle. It's all fun. It's blessed, man. I miss it. No cap. I miss Cypher. Facts.
So you were doing that
So
basically as your main driving force to create all of these songs that you did, or like,
not as nah. It was more to get myself out there. It's not as a main driving force to create the songs. Song creation is a different entity.
okay,
Matter of fact, I like writing more than I like freestyling. True story. I like creating at my own pace more than freestyling, because once again, freestyling, you're dealing with time and space, and that is a deadline itself, right? So for the writing, what's driving me is just the fact that I want my music heard. I want my type of music out there. I want bars. I want fun melodies like gas pedal.
yeah,
I
that's a
don't know if
great
you've ever
song.
heard that song,
Just Randy, I
right?
tore up all
So
of them before this. Literally, right before this. All of them are fresh in my head. But
yeah, so like gas pedal, gas pedal. It's just a whole vibe, you're just chilling kind of thing. So driving force, really, I wanted to hear my music on mainstream, or like even in somebody's feed, or and then I got a movie deal with one of my songs from my EP.
wait, what?
um yeah, I got a movie deal with from one of my songs off of my EP, my first EP, my only EP,
That's big.
which was really huge, which was released in 2016. So, and that's when I launched the EP release with Urban Science, and somebody emailed me and said, we'd like to use your song for a movie. And I thought they were bullshitting me at first. I'm like, all right, because I just came out, like, but it was interesting because it's like I just came out with the EP in 2016. This person's asking me for the song in 2018, 2017. So it's like, once again, a time lapse. I guess, you know, everything just works out. And for me, like I say in my life, nothing is for nothing, you know? So I released that song. I released the EP. They asked me about it. They said, can we use your song in a movie? I said, absolutely. The movie's called Jeune Juliette. Came out in theaters 2018. It was in theaters for about, I don't know, a few weeks, to like maybe 2 months. And yeah, yeah, they used the lyrics though. They didn't actually use the full song, So they use the lyrics in the movie. So it's a part of the script.
Yo, I mean, rapper to rapper person, that's fucking blessed. Let's be real. Like, come on, that's like, that's the words. That's what they really honed in
Yeah.
on. I mean, like,
Yeah.
all of it's blessed though. All of that is like, wow, Serenity. I didn't know any of that. That is
Yeah.
really fucking like amazing. I don't know that many
Yeah.
people. How did you? Are you like with the SoCans and all properly like lined up like that?
Definitely with the SoCan. As soon as I dropped my EP in 2016, I SoCanned it all up and made sure that I had everything in line as far as that goes. Because during the time that I was just like trying to get myself together, I was also learning about these things and mixing and mingling with the people from the cipher. I got to meet new people who would teach me and tell me these things as well. Shouts out to Paul Carniello, who told me, also known from the Skinny Bros duo. He's the one who initially put me on. He said, "Nah, you got to join SoCan. You're releasing an EP. Join SoCan and make sure you register your works, because if ever it plays on radio or TV, you can get royalties, this and that, blah blah blah." So I was like, "Oh, most definitely." Me, when somebody tells me something, I listen because remember, I'm a nerd. All I do is study, right? So if you're telling me something, I will take heed and I will learn and I will do, and that's it.
No, but like
So
I'm gonna be real
definitely,
with you. I'm a nerd too, but I don't always do like that. I had to learn the hard way to do like that. So it may be like that you're an exceptionally wise nerd, and we can go with that or something. Cause yo, no, for real, everything about your life is like if you look at what you're supposed to do, and what everybody recommends you do, sharpen your sword first, get yourself ready for it. Um, Make sure you're in a position to handle the situations, squat up in the right and appropriate vibe that's good for you, elevate organically, but also handle your shit legally. Like, yo, these are things that, like, yo, I'll be real with you. I didn't really do the SoCan thing. And then I started doing this interview shit. And I realized, oh, fuck. Especially with Meticulous. Meticulous basically slapped the shit out of me on camera like, you fucking moron. And I'm like, fair enough. I accept. And then I realized there's a real blocker in my life because of COVID. I don't really feel like it's a necessity, like I have to go do it, and I don't have a printer, and I have to print a piece of paper literally to get this fucking dealt with. I swear. But the second that I'm allowed, like I feel ethically, not like more. It's not like nobody said I can't. I feel like ethically to do my fucking job in this like COVID situation, I can stay the fuck home for 2 months. You know, like what the fuck, I can deal with the paper later. The second I feel okay with that, I'm gonna fucking go deal with that right away. Because if people are like, yo, you got a movie? I'm like, yo, I've had shit out since 2012. What if I had actually, like, I'm not saying this more for the benefit of everybody else, right, who didn't do this. Just imagine, like, like 2 years later, somebody said, yo, your song's lit. My whole life would have been different just on the ego boost. Like, yo, that had to have
that's
changed your
true.
life. Like, nobody can take shit away from you for the rest of your life, right? You're good forever.
Yeah. So, and honestly, that was a huge, huge stepping stone. And I feel like if you look at the trajectory of my line chart, like when I started from 2016, it just went up. It was a sharp incline to the point that with the movie deal, meeting Urban Science movie deal, being a part of the end of the week competition. I didn't win the world finals. Our boy, Basics, won the world finals for that year. But I mean, even that alone, 2017, I was the only, and probably, I think, matter of fact, I am the first female in Quebec to join end of the week in the final competitions. So now there are more women going out there doing the freestyle thing, doing the end of the week. But I
So
am
when did
the
you get
first.
involved in end of the week? Now, end of the week is interesting for me, but I don't think everybody knows what the fuck that is, to be honest with you.
So, End of the Week is a freestyle competition that has its roots. It was created in New York, but adopted worldwide, including Quebec. It's a freestyle competition where there's 5 challenges, 5 games, if you could say, where you freestyle. The first game, I believe, is a cappella. Then the second one is maybe written, actually. And then the third one is the surprise bag, where you freestyle. This is where you really have to see this person is freestyling because you pick out random objects from a bag. And the fourth game is
The beat
like
one.
DJ versus the
Yeah.
artist. And then the last one is like a cipher. So it's a 5 game challenge competition where you're freestyling. And it's it's regional. So within Quebec, there's a competition within Montreal specifically as well, and then to the point that they take it worldwide because every city that's affiliated with End of the Week, they have their own competitions within their own regions, and then the winner of that competition will go to the world competition. So it's that is a beautiful thing for me too, in the sense that it challenges you. Definitely, it is a challenge, and being the only female up there didn't matter to me because once again, you mentioned something at the beginning of our conversation. Female rapper, you shouldn't have to emphasize on the female, but the fact that I was the first,
That's
I
different.
have to. Yeah, exactly.
That's history.
Exactly. I'd have to, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And
yeah.
end of the week is a big
Now,
deal.
it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. But now it's been altered to a certain degree. So, I mean,
So
it's been altered to a certain degree,
I don't know
but
a lot
that's
about
neither
that
here nor
side.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
involved with end of the week New York heavy, so I'm just like
Hmm.
with them. I have no idea what the hell's happening with end of the week Quebec. But end of the
Yeah.
week New York's in like a interesting place where they do it on the Zoom now. That like thing they keep the virtual challenge running. That's I did
Yeah.
that all year a lot actually. That's how I really got into end of the week. I really got like a lot of love on some shit back into it
Mhm.
because of that. But
Yeah.
again, I don't know. I don't know what Meticulous is saying. Speak on that. I don't know what the fuck he means, but I know you work with
Oh,
Meticulous.
I know what he means. I know what he means. We're not gonna
Look.
go
I have
too
ideas of
long.
what you mean, so I don't want to push it because I think I know what you're
Nah,
talking
don't
about.
push it.
But also,
Don't
I'll
push
leave it
it.
because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want this to be like Gossip Central on some politics shit, right? Like that's
Let me
not
tell
what
you
I'm really
something.
interested in.
Nah, I know. I'm feeling you on that. That's not what I'm really trying to do either. So if, sometimes he says speak on that, but I don't want to push it like you said. You don't want to push it. And sometimes when it's not time to deliver, to push will kill something.
Or
So guess what? Mm?
maybe sometimes other people can speak on certain things better, and it should be done at another time.
Facts.
Because I
Facts.
don't think I'm qualified if it's what I think we're talking about.
Facts. Yeah, I think I know what it is. I know what it is. He knows I know what it is. He's probably laughing at his screen right now.
Ah, that's what he's doing. It's a good time.
I'm sure. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
But like with that, I don't like. It's not the goal. You being yo end of the week is fucking dope to me. I don't know about end of the
Mm-hmm.
week up here because I never went to the event. Again, it was another thing that I'll be real with you. That one is I knew I couldn't hold it down. I would have been murked. There's no way I'm competing in a freestyle competition in any time before 2021 where I feel like I can finally hold my own. You know. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Like that was just knowing it. I went on to like all last year. I like went on to that fucking cipher, and I literally started an acapella series just to learn how to write acapella and without a beat, just so I could flow a
Mm-hmm.
little nicer. Because I saw what that contest was, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, if I'm ever gonna do this contest, I need to know how to write an acapella.
Mm-hmm.
Like right, so I wrote 15 in 15 weeks or whatever, and then life got busy with this interview shit. But like for real, like that shit inspired inspires me so much what end of the week is
Yeah.
at like that tournament level, the competition. It's like some MC shit. I like it's some real MC shit. That's the best way I could put it.
Facts. Facts. It is some real MC shit. And that was huge for me. And they actually approached me because they saw me at the cipher. And they're like, so hold on, this girl's really killing like bars for 2 hours straight on cipher.
Was it Basics that
So they
saw you? Out of curiosity.
no, it wasn't basics. He was there though. He was there. But it was the promoters of end of the week. So those guys were there. And that's the beauty of the cipher. You never know who's there,
Mm,
you know? So there's many people who have approached me for whatever reason because they saw me at the cipher, and they asked like, "Oh, are you really freestyling?" Yeah, I didn't I call out your T-shirt or something or your mom or something? No, I'm just joking. But I just didn't I call out something? And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's true. You're different." So it was at that place that they saw me spit. So they called me. They said, "Yeah, would you like to be a part of the end of the week competition?" I said, "For sure. I'm not going to say no to an opportunity." And I know I got the gusto, I know I got the skills, I know I got the vibe for it. So guess what? I went to do it, and then I was in the finals, and then Basics won, and he went to Prague and he did his thing. So you know
that's
that's
fair.
what's up.
If it
Yeah,
counts, I think you're
yeah.
fucking dope stills. That's what's really important.
Thank you,
Don't get me wrong,
thank you.
Basics. If you're watching this, you're dope, but you're not Serenity dope to me. You're dope, dope, but you're not Serenity dope. Listen, that like that. I want it, put it back. I want it. That shit stuck in my head all fucking like ever. I don't have the words down yet because I'm live and I'm not thinking. But yo, for real, that track and caterpillar to a butterfly. Yo, that shit's been
Yeah,
fucking stuck. I'm
caterpillar
not
to a
even lying. Like you
butterfly.
don't understand how much I like these songs. Like these songs
You
aren't
like
just
that song?
both of them. Those two
Thank you, thank
tracks, I
you.
swear, are like your other ones are good too. Don't get me wrong, but I haven't heard them enough times yet. It's hard to know
Mhm.
sometimes. You don't know something until you heard it a lot of times, which is some big facts you said. But I can tell you that, and maybe it's because I'll be honest. I like JS. His lady plays Among Us with us, so my connection's right there. And just hearing him and you together blend so beautifully over that beat, the fucking just genuine nature of that track is amazing. The content is so inspiring and uplifting. I'm sitting there going, yo, why the fuck wouldn't I want to listen to this? I'm never gonna be in a bad mood listening to this song. And then the other one makes me want to shake my booty. It is what it is, yo. It's just fucking banging. Just jump around to that shit. It's fucking hard. It's like right on that list of like I wanna go dance now songs.
Yeah, I'm happy I could do that for you. And if you're shaking your booty, I'm happy that I can do that for you too. That's an awesome thing. But just to bring it back to something you said with JS, no regard, God bless him because he came up to me also. He was like, "Oh, let's do a track together," And you said something that's very important for me when I create. You said it was genuine, and it was. And why was it genuine? Because he came to me, he said, "Let's do a track." I said, "Sure." I said, "Do you have an idea? What would you like to do?" He gave me the beat. He said, "I think I'd like to talk about something concerning evolution, like a butterfly, the growth, evolution, growth, butterfly." So with what he gave me as far as those topics, um, I took it, I wrote a hook, I wrote my verse, and we met up in the studio. That's that. And you would think that's too simple on how to create a song on a collabo,
No.
but that's the way I like to do it. I like to know that I'm vibing with the individual so that it's authentic. They gave me the topic, or sometimes I give them the topic, and sometimes they take the hook. Like for my other song, Heat, I have another song called Heat with featuring Diego Delati, and he wrote the hook. You know what I mean? But we had a vibe, in the sense that he was like, "Oh, I think this is like a dark song," and I was like, "Yeah." Eh? He said, "Yeah." So we wrote our verses separately. We came back, and it was magic. And that's one thing I like. I like when it's genuine. I like when it's authentic. Um, you know, it gives it a different appeal. It gives it a different energy, and maybe that's why you like it.
I definitely appreciate the simplicity angle because I had JD and KS. When their names are together, it gets confusing. JD and KS came
Mm-hmm.
through back before it was not allowed to come through times. And they literally broke down their songwriting process together, and it was the simplest shit I ever heard. You're like, yo, bro, you're not even going to
Yeah.
believe it. We open up WhatsApp, and then he hums. And then after we hum, we're like, okay, yeah, that's good. And then we add some words. And then, yeah, when I feel it, I go in the lab and I spit it. And I'm like, what? Like, you gotta understand, I'm the one take I did my first ever recording session without one taking the verse because I was tired of that shit and wasting time. Nah, some people can do that. I can't. I waste too much time. I just obsess on details. I probably had it on take two, and then there's take 200. Why? Why did I do that? That's me though, wasting time. I'm saying it because I know there's other people that do things right. So I broke this shit up into like chunks and whatever, and it was just smooth. But it was a lot because JS was just like, "Yo, why are you trying so hard?" And then I talked to Tech Luciano, and he's like, "Why are you trying so hard?" And I'm like, "Wait a
Yeah.
second," and you're just like, "Have fun with it." And I'm like, why am I trying? Who am I impressing? You know, like, what am I doing with
Exactly.
this shit? But I'm like, wait. Then I talked to some kids. When I say kids, it's because I'm in my 30s now, so I feel like 22 is a kid. It is what it is to the young peoples. But the 22-year-olds and the youngers, I went as young as 17. They all do the same thing. They go, yeah, I'm a melody. And then I add the words in. I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, JD is that in touch with this shit? And I'm like, yo, for real
Yeah.
though, that's like big for me. Now I'm like, maybe I need to rethink some shit because that's all
Yeah.
working for all of y'all. And not to say that I want to reinvent my process. I'm still gonna write blah blah blah, but like the simplicity in it, like to not complicate the situation is I think like where you get to that next level of artistry. Like you get really technical and good, let's say at a point, and who the fuck wants to listen to that is not a rapper or like a super enthusiast, is what I realized. And then it's like, nah, what I liked about your freestyles, which was super impressive, was the dramatic elements that you dropped in the middle of it. You did a couple of voice swaps, but you also did some like ad lib shit on the fly, like literal theatric, like hand motion type shit flowed into it. And I'm
Hmm.
like, yo, that's some like real, like performer shit up and all of that. I don't know. It's just fucking dope.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to be boring, so when I'm performing, I definitely will put a few little, I don't know, little Tinkerbells in there just to, catch someone's attention. And definitely not boring. I can't do the boring stuff. So yeah, definitely with freestyling, have to stay exciting. Have to stay as much as I can full of bars. Um, but quickly back to what you're saying with JS and the simplicity. It's is I find the importance in that is that you're on the same page with the artist that you're working with.
That's big too.
Yeah, you're on the same page with the artist that you're working with, because if you can catch his vibe and he can catch yours, that means you guys are on the same page, and it's going to naturally be a good vibe, a good music, a good song, and make good music. um and that's very important to me. So
Is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do want to touch on something, but I have to thank Willie Scandals for the bits because on Twitch there's the bits, and when they throw the bits, you have to
Yeah,
thank.
try,
It's
yeah.
what it is. Um,
Big up Willie.
yo, Willie's wonderful. Yo, something
Yeah, big him
else
up, big him up, big him up.
that I thought about recently that was brought to my attention, and it's a definition of artist that I really like that I think I'm gonna steal from now on. But artists are just people with exceptionally good taste that often can't realize their own visions. I'm like,
Interesting.
yo, that's true. Like, if I could do what's in my head with the money that it would probably cost to, and I say that because some of what I want to do would require live instrument recording. In fact, most of what I would want to do, that just takes your cost and amplifies it to a level that's beyond what I can afford. It's just the facts of recording instruments. You can't,
That's true.
you can't do what I want to do. Like without the budget that comes with like the next tier and shit, right? So I can't visualize
Mm.
what I would love to do. I'm doing what I can with what I have. And that's what I think that a lot of artists are. But what you said that was powerful is if that is true, perhaps, and we sit there with the idea that we are the ones with, I don't want to say superior taste, but like we have good taste at this because we're specialists. We've put more time and effort into studying this shit than, say, the regular person did. And I say that because, yo, there's no way you listen to a song and you're not breaking shit down and you might vibe to it, but you're still an artist. You still like it's homework. It's just kind of what happens when you're involved in it.
Not all. Depends. Depends. If it depends. Not always. Sometimes I'm just like it's
Right,
just
right.
playing, you know. When do I do that? If I'm asked to listen to a song.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm listening to like, I mean, when do you do that?
I mean, I'm a music reviewer, so I fucked up my whole life.
Okay.
I don't know how to not do it anymore. I had to stop for a while, for real. I had to stop because I stopped liking music in 2020 in a way that was weird. I didn't enjoy listening to anything. It was just so like, yo, you don't understand. The data set's ridiculous. I'm at like 500 albums or so that I've critically looked at in 4 years.
Interesting.
And that doesn't include all the songs for friends. That doesn't even include what I did musically. It's just a shit ton of music. When I hear what you do, I'm not fucking just randomly saying that shit's top five for me. It's like, nah, Serenity has the chance to actually fucking pop, like go viral. Like it's not bullshit. These songs are fucking replayable earworms, but they also say some shit. Like on the real, I could learn from you, and so could a lot of people, about how to make some bops. You understand the
Hmm.
dancing element. You understand the fun. Like you said all this shit. So I'm just repeating back to you what you said. But it's shit that I noticed in you because I listen to like, you notice my voice change because it's like a different fucking side of my brain and shit. But like, nah, like people don't know like what happens when you do that so much so fast. And then like we sold album reviews on Patreon and shit. And then all of a sudden I wasn't even controlling what I'm listening to. I don't know what I fucking like anymore. It's almost like my palate is so fucking saturated with spices that everything tasted like ass for a minute. And then like the problem is you're just constantly dealing with fandoms and yo, now you have to like everything because you're on camera. And truth is, you're trying to make a little bit of bank because you've been putting in time, money, and effort for years. So now you have to like everything because it's not a choice. This is the economy of reviews. If you want to be a successful music reviewer, not a good music reviewer, a successful music reviewer where the time is worth the ROI or whatever, you get an ROI, you have to love shit because the only people clicking on your shit past the new whatever windows of trending is super fans. So you're only ever talking to super fans, people who have listened to that shit more than you. So now you have to
Hmm.
fake love everything or at least find things to like in it. So I did that for like 2 years. So now I don't even
Yeah,
know
but
how to dislike music.
well, that's interesting because the fake love might have really killed something in you though, because now you've become way too analytical than actually creative in the
I just want to.
sense that.
I got a comment
Hmm?
from Ismail, my patron, who's listening to this. So he's one of those patrons. He says the
Hmm.
needle drop is popular. A lot of people hate him when he doesn't give a good review. He disagrees with the idea. I'm like, that guy's got clout. I don't have clout. I have 2,400 subscribers in a world where you need a
Yeah.
100K to count. So nobody fucks with me, and the algorithm's never gonna love me unless I can get 1,000 fucking likes on my video without a fuck. Yo, like I did an Eminem review thing and I got a 50% like ratio. Like that's not good. People act like you want dislikes. No, the algorithm fucking buries you if you have dislikes and then
Hmm.
you're showing up with haters and shit and it's like, yo, you don't want the kind of content love that comes with dislikes. You don't want that comment section. You know, like you don't want to wake up every day to some motherfucker getting mad at you from some shit you said 3 years ago. This shit affected me heavy. It's the past though. I fell in love with Montreal. I'm back. I'm out on my game of love again. but it took like I had to stop doing it and had to like take time off and like remember. And it's been like a recent process that I listened to a lot of Black Eyed Peas again and shit. I went back to like 2011. I was like, fuck it, let's go back to the fun shit that I still want to listen to, scream and shout and all sorts of random jams. But like, yo, in the last few months, plus Montreal hip hop, I made this playlist. This is not about promotion. I just made a playlist because I wanted to listen to more Montreal shit. And then, yo, we're dope. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. This is the dopest shit I've ever listened to. I'm just loving it. Honestly, I'm listening to all these sounds, and I think the benefit is I stopped hating what I didn't understand. So it was like this weird process, but now it's like when I'm listening to Preach and Kobia do his soca, it's not like I'm like soca. It's more like, yo, what is this? Why is this guy making songs in such a fun, trollish way? What is this energy?
Yeah.
No wonder these guys have girls showing up. You know, like, and I'm like watching these things. So like, listen, the process was grueling. It really was. But the end result is wonderful. I wouldn't be here talking to you with such an open mind about your music if I hadn't done this shit, right? Like, don't get me wrong.
True.
So when I talk about this shit and how hard it was, it's always from a place, trust, if I'm going through shit, we ain't talking about it. We only ever talking about what I can give you a lesson or, you know, like it's got to tie into something or it's fucking useless, you know? So
got you.
But it was related to it because for me, I don't have that natural relationship. So maybe I do just assume people that are artists naturally are critical of things. And maybe that's incorrect on my end. And I have these biases that come from my life and my experience that every now and again I have to acknowledge that might not be universal.
Well, just to reinforce what you said, being critical about things, if it doesn't concern me, no.
That's nifty.
What is it of my business? Like, you make your music, make yourself happy, however you like to make your music, do your thing. Now, if it doesn't mesh with the Sereni-T brand, that's where I might be a little more critical and give constructive criticism. If it starts to mesh or try to, if we're doing a collaboration or you're trying to mesh with the Sereni-T brand, because there's a standard that I'm trying to set for Sereni-T. And so that's why I would then become critical, maybe. But
so I guess another angle to this is
just on the fly
is the studying music differently. Like, you're a songwriter, you know songwriting shit like breath pockets, so you'd appreciate that in a way that a regular person, and I don't mean to say, I mean like somebody that doesn't write songs, that doesn't know anything about that, they're not hearing that shit the way that you would hear shit. Like, maybe you're just, and I'm saying this sincerely, maybe you're just mad good at like filtering your brain in ways that I am personally not mad good at filtering, right? I'm not trying to like say that I know all the like whatevers, but like to me it's astounding that you can just do that. Like, you can just go, yo, now I'm a fan again, now I'm gonna go do this, and just like a switch. Like, that's so nifty.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I'm listening to other artists, for example, like I also created a playlist on Spotify, which include Montreal artists. And for the most part, why did I include certain artists? Predominantly because the music was catchy, but good. And that's something I always like to hear. I like to hear positive music, and through my own personal, works, you'll hear that as well. I like to hear positive music. I like to hear something that's catchy, something that makes you want to shake your booty, like Holden. You know what I mean? Something that makes you want to turn up, but we're turning up not to guns and drugs. We're turning up to, for example, our blessings or something else. You know what I mean? So positive music is something I've always wanted to create.
That's huge.
And when I listen, and when I listen to other people, I like to hear that from them as well. If I don't hear that from them, at least give me another element that I like to hear, which is the dancing, the vibe, the energy. Make me want to move as well. And if I don't hear that, give me bars.
Nah, I mean it's
You
fair,
know,
but I think it's really like key for a lot of people to hear what you're saying. So, cause yo, we did get kind of tangential, but I think it just added extra element to the bigger point I wanted to make. Cause back to that tastemaker shit. So if we as artists have the great taste, da da da, all that shit, and then you think about what you do with your creative process, where you sit there and you listen to your shit on loop and determine if the tastemaker that is Serenity can fuck with this tune. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Whereas I think I come from a culture of sitting there and criticizing everything and everything with my peeps. So that's all I ever really did. I don't even think I ever trusted myself until like really
that's
recently. And I say
that's where
recently
it
as in
starts.
like months, not even years.
Okay. That's where it starts though. Trusting yourself and trusting what you're doing. Like when Serenity's creating, um, honestly, when I'm creating, it's just give me a beat and give me a few minutes, and I can do what I have to do with it, you know. And I feel confident enough to let that shit go into the studio because, like I said, first, I like it. I'm happy with what I'm saying. So if I have to perform it, I don't feel no type of way about it. I feel confident about it. I like what I'm saying. I'm not saying something that I'm not sure about, or that's not me. It's all me. So that's why it's easy, because it's all me. I'm not putting on like a gimmick, or I'm not doing any of that. So that's why that's the first step. It's easy. Once you know self is easy to express.
I think there's one
So
other element though that would
mm,
differentiate us further. Just one more thing.
mm,
My last album, people don't know why I don't like it, but I figured it out like 2 days ago. I was being
okay.
self-indulgent to my mopiest shit,
Self-indulgent to who?
to my mopiest side. So like my most
Uh,
negative, petty shit. I just like made the.
okay.
In my opinion, you can think what you want hearing it. I know it was a lot. There were 2 or 3 songs that were not that, but most of that album was just petty shit. And then I thought about it, and I don't even feel like that way no more. Who wants to listen to that?
Mm,
Was what I said. To some of these tracks, I literally hear myself
mm,
just whining. Other people can feel what they want. Maybe they want to listen to that. But I realized I don't even really want to listen to that on loop or whatever. I don't know if I want to attract that kind of energy in my life. I don't know if that's who I want to be type thing. But you're uplifting shit, the blessings, like that's a whole different wave that attracts a whole different type of energy, sphere, and being and shit. And that's fucking cool.
but hold on, Holden. What you're saying right there is very important, because music is timeless. And in space and time, we will change.
Hmm.
And not only in space and time will we change, but people will be receptive to certain music at certain times, depending what they themselves are going through. So you might not be feeling that way now from what you created in the past, but in the past you were feeling that way.
That's true. I
Hence,
like what you're
hence the
saying.
reason why, you created it, right? So if somebody's relating to that, you have to then relate to them where they're at with how they're relating to you. That sounded weird,
No, I
perhaps.
followed you. I followed you though. No, that's big. That's fair. Because I overthink everything, right? Like sometimes it just takes somebody smarter than you to be like, nah, what you're saying is kind of interesting, but here's a smarter thing. And then I'm like, no, Serenity's got a better point than anything I said there. That's fucking dope.
No, but I mean, this is the exchange. This is the
I
conversation.
love
This
it.
is why you're doing what you're doing, and it's true, because music is timeless. So what you created at that point in time when you were feeling that way is now relating to somebody else who might be feeling that way, or understanding, or being more empathetic to how you felt
Mm.
at that point in time. And that's the beauty of music. It is a time capsule. Like we put in VHS from, I don't know, 1992, and it's like, oh, but this is still going on today. You know,
You're right, eh? But that's big,
has
big.
anything really changed?
That's big, big. Oh,
Right?
fuck, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. I accept all of
Yeah.
what you'd make a great motivational speaker. That's all I'm gonna say. You should like go to like schools and talk to young people and like,
I plan to do it.
cause you
I plan to do
crush.
it.
You're
I
fucking
plan
good
to
at
do
this
it.
shit.
I plan to do it. I plan to do it. And that's just it. So I mean, that's why I don't think anybody should really feel bad. Like you said actually at the beginning, the funny looking song that I made, you told me don't feel bad about it. At least you
Mm.
sent it out and you got, a reply. Same thing. Same thing for you. You sent out your music, you put out your music, you're on some petty shit. Who cares? That was you at the time. And you've evolved. You're a butterfly.
Oof, that's power. No, that's really big. When is your album coming?
My album's coming in spring or early summer. I haven't put a date to it because, like Holden, I can't do the deadline exactly, because I'm trying to build up on it and make new videos. I might be putting out a video for Blessings soon enough, but definitely spring, early summer.
All right.
Yeah. 10 tracks. Like I said, I think personally, I love all 10 tracks, but you can review it and let me know how you feel. But personally, I love all 10 tracks.
That's
You can
hilarious.
review it, or whoever else can review it once it comes out, and let me
I'll
know how they
definitely
feel.
listen to it. Reviews are a huge time effort. We'll see about like that. But as like a person listening and letting you know what I think, big facts, yeah. Because how could I not? You're gonna drop that project. It's gonna be mad exciting on that day, and I'm waiting for it. I actually was thinking like, you know what? I would really like a Serenity album. That would be fucking fire. And I say that because yo, like, look, you put out stuff and it's got a vibe to it. And there's certain like yo, another one that has a vibe I fuck with is Bamboo Twigs. And as I look around, I'm starting to find these different people with different sounds that have these different vibes that I fuck with. And it's like really, really cool. It's all
Hmm.
here. And that's what my favorite part about Serenity is where's Serenity from? Montreal.
Montreal,
Like that's
Montreal.
so fucking cool. Do you like
Yeah.
do a lot of social mediaing? Or are you like into the social medias?
Ah, man, I'm not really a social media influencer, IG I'm trying to be better at it, in the sense like I'm trying to post videos, engage with the audience, because that's what it's about. Sometimes your music can only take you so far. They love the character, like you said, in the WWE or whatever, UFC, whatever, they make a character. They love the character. So it's like, who is Serenity? Yeah, she makes music, but at the same time, we want to know, what does she do? Like, is she a character? Is she cool? Is she this? Is she that? And sometimes I'm a little too elusive, so they don't really know who this person is. So I'm trying to be better at the IG thing and posting and being a social media I'm
Yeah.
trying.
My theory is the entire future of music is influencers.
Yeah, I see it.
And it's
I
a,
see it.
but it's also because it was always that, and we just called it different things in the past. Like thought leader is just an influencer. Like
Hmm.
there's just like it's just a different word for things that already existed, in my opinion. Once I understood what's happening here, but sure, like a lot of things is mad changing with technologies and COVIDs. Like you know what I got an email for? All the live events celebrities are throwing this month to watch for the lives.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right? Like the
Wow.
live. Yo,
Wow.
you gotta understand. Like people don't get that this is irreparably changing shit. I have to
Yeah.
say this because otherwise it's gonna show up in my comments because Willie's there and a few of them are there. Live shows are never going away. I know that, everybody on the whole fucking world. I do know that.
Yeah.
Dingy bar
Yeah.
live shows is a whole other conversation.
Well, I mean, actually, we might be the urban science team. Maybe I shouldn't speak on it, but the urban science team will be throwing a live concert.
Yo, that's amazing.
Uh, yeah, yeah, sometime in April or March. Excuse me, it might be March. It might be March. So look out for that. And what you just said, dingy bar concert, live concert, that's exactly what it is. We're going to be in a bar. I don't know if it's dingy, but
I never saw
definitely live
no. I've
concert.
never seen them book. They were at like a legit place. Like I
Yeah.
there's two tiers to this shit. There's like legit venue bar. Oh my gosh, my
Get some water. Yeah, yeah. Get some water. Yeah.
Yeah. This shit
Yeah,
happens, okay?
yeah.
Like I'm live like 7 days a week sometimes. It's dope. I love my life right now. Don't get me wrong. It's
For
nothing
sure. I
fun.
hear you.
Sometimes you're like, oh fuck, there's my voice. Um, but yo, Le Cipher was always booked at some place I didn't consider dingy. It was like a
Hmm.
proper venue bar, like with like a stage and shit, like a proper one. And then you got places that are just not cool. And I performed at many of these places. I mean, literally, they converted some shit that was not meant to be a bar into a place that had like a stage or whatever, right? Like, and these are often places I think people could afford to book, so they did. And that shit was not appealing to a lot of people. But also, the Cipher has brand power. Let's be real. They're one of like the only institutions that can legitimately state we came week over week and didn't fuck up. So I
Yeah.
don't think they're a people that can be compared against for other things. I don't think many. I don't think how many people can replicate a Le Cipher. Community can do it. A few other things
Well,
can do it.
I mean, I think Decipher Urban Science is a branch off of Calmunity. You'll see a lot of the same people from Calmunity at Decipher. You know what I mean? So with the Urban Science crew, so
But if
it's definitely a branch from a tree
but if
that roots in
but let's say I
the
go
hip hop
throw some
culture.
shit in a dingy bar. I do not have the brand power to pull that
Mm,
off. That's what I'm trying to. And a lot of us are that. I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but the brand power to
no,
fill a bar post COVID on some expensive drink tip and all the other things to a brokey like yo, there's too many festivals popping, real expensive celebrity shit popping, private chalet parties that we don't really hear about because we might not be in that scene no more, lit and popping. Bars have expensive drink tags, and I'm like, yo, I
yeah.
don't know that that's gonna be like in the favor of people's partying habits. We're going to house party like it's
Mm,
forever the second week. For real, house parties I actually see being a grind. I see like Instagram house party performances being more lucrative to most of us than actually going to the bar in the future. Lucrative.
I can see that too, definitely. Plus, it's more intimate,
Mm.
so that gives it a whole different feel, but definitely more lucrative. Plus, you're not actually paying for the bar sales or, you know. So yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's dope. What do you think
yeah.
about virtual reality?
I think virtual reality is cool to a certain degree. I just think we're definitely in that time and space. We're not 100% there yet, but we're getting there. Um, and it reminds me of a movie I seen many moons ago called Surrogates. Have you ever seen that movie? Surrogates, where they send out their android bodies to live their lives.
That
And your
sounds
android,
cool.
yeah, it's pretty dope. And your android body could be whoever and whatever you want it to be. So, for example, I, Serenity, want to send out a male android body because I feel maybe he'd be more respected or well received in the hip hop community. I can send out a nice, big, strong, handsome android body to live my life, but I'm living it virtually through him. Um, Pretty dope movie, but with that, there comes consequences as well. So I'm all for virtual reality to a certain degree because after a certain point, you start to just live in that realm, and that's not really living.
I like what you're saying. Um, I like virtual reality a lot. I can't lie. I'm looking at it often more from a capitalistic point of view, and I don't often think of the societal consequences. But it's because loneliness is $1 billion industry that I actually see the lucrative side of it. It's honestly the flip side of what you're saying that motivates me, which is probably not great for my ethics, but is still something I need to consider. Because you're right, the social side is huge, but like, I don't know if people know what Second Life is, but that shit was $1 billion fucking situation where people created virtual worlds and hung out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Now I think in like urban centers like us, it's easy to hang out, but if you up in Iowa, it's a different existence. And there is benefit to this for some people. There are niche markets where like it would help a lot of people. But like
Yeah.
capitalistically, yo, imagine merch is just as simple as getting a designer to throw a logo on some fucking skin and you get a
Yeah.
$2 microtransaction. Like holy shit. That's the
No,
future.
definitely. Definitely. There's obviously there's pros and cons to everything in life and every type of evolution. Always pros and cons. But at the end of the day, you have to look at what you're looking at. For
Mm,
example, you're looking more at the capitalistic aspect of it. I'm looking at it more on the social realm and the mental health realm
that's a big
of
one.
the individuals because
Shit, eh?
it's yeah it's a real thing and people will start to go crazy because they're not actually living their lives. Not only will they go crazy, they will get sick because why do you don't have to do anything when your android body is doing everything for you. What do you really have to do? You just have to program them, speak to them, let them and direct them like a sim. You ever play
Of
Sims?
course.
Of course. Okay, so
I
when
say
you're
it like
playing
that, but
Sims.
like, I mean, that's because I remember when The Sims was The Sims.
Okay. Okay. Got you. So like you tell your sim to go wash the dishes. The sim don't want to wash the dishes. Whatever. Leave the sim alone. Let the dishes pile up. Hire the maid or whatever the thing that they do, right? It's like you're letting your android body live for you. And there's an aspect that will literally destroy your social and your mental health because when your android body's living for you, how do you actually have sex? Do you have sex?
Yo, that's like that Black Mirror episode where they put the like chip in their head and then they're playing. I don't know if you saw that one, but that's
No, I didn't see that one.
no, they
I
base
watched that show
no,
though.
but they explore exactly that. And then these two dudes end up in this fighting game and they intercourse, but the shit's all virtual and real.
Okay.
And yeah, it was one
But
of
I
those
mean,
bigger ones. But it's like at that point, is that doing it or is that like virtual doing it? Like are these the same things? Like I don't even know how to answer those
so
questions. But I mean,
it's virtual. It's like watching porn.
I
It's
guess
like
that's
watching
it, eh?
porn. It's literally like watching porn. You're not actually having sex. In your mind you're having sex. You think you're so good. No, you're not. You're not as good as you think. You're watching porn. So
Mm,
it'll fuck with you eventually. But I mean, if you're looking at it from the money perspective, for sure. But is money everything?
no, but I also look at it as accessibility. It's not just money. Like money is one angle, which is really interesting. It's why I think you always have to follow the money to figure out what's going to come next. So like the money is important for
That's
me.
very true.
So I'm not actually as capitalistic as my excitement about capitalism is. If I was, you would see a very different business model on my show. Trust me, I know how to make more money than I do with this shit. I just
Hmm.
don't want to be certain types of that person. There are ways to do it I like, and there are ways I don't think are right. Um, so I actually do care a lot. The mental health thing I didn't really think that much on. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't caring that much. But I was thinking about it from like the whole opposite angle. Like somebody like my mom doesn't do a lot. You know, like she doesn't want to go anywhere anymore. She's kind of like getting older and shit. So now she can go have that Android and like not have the most miserable shits. I'm not saying she's miserable, but like I don't know that I'd want my 50s to look like that kind of thing. So I look at these types of environments or like, imagine you are in like an extreme poverty situation. So I understand the risk and danger of that particular moment, but imagine it can offer like respite or something. Like, I'm not saying like, because it's drugs. We're talking about this shit as drugs, and drugs
It
is good and
is.
bad. So it depends on like your moderations and all that other shit. I do think there's benefits to a lot of people. Like the whole other side of it is I know like artists, and there's one in particular I can think of who literally flat out said he would never perform ever. He's just gonna be on the internet forever. He just doesn't want to ever do it, but he still wants to make music and participate. You give this person a VR environment, and they never have to like go through the other side of it. So like there are on that even mental health tip, I think benefits and advantages to like if you're never gonna go out anyway, at least now you can have friends type thing, and it is more engaging than fucking Messenger. It's so I went to like a party at a virtual club, and it was like, you know what? I'm literally dancing. You can argue that like it looks stupid, but yo, I have this boxing game, and I just punch to the beat and shit. It got me able to dance on rhythm. So
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of for people who want to lose weight. There's almost
Hmm.
nothing smarter than VR right now. There's a lot of dangers, but if you're in your apartment slash home and you can't go nowhere, you get this boxing shit and it plays it, and you have to basically shadow box, and you can go for like 45 minutes, and it's fucking fun. I mean, it's fun. I do it. I don't do it as much now. I have to re-get back. You go through phases. You exercise good for a year, and then you're out for a few months, and then you get back into it for a year. But when I'm doing it proper, it's like, I feel my muscles improving, and it's also like, picture Skyrim. I don't know if you ever played Skyrim. It's a giant mythical fantasy game where like swords and magic and shit. Picture that in virtual reality. Like the literal, you have to fight with a sword now. You gotta,
Hmm.
you can't be doing that shit with no upper body strength. So like, I swear, and this is kind of maybe not what people are expecting. Virtual reality is a huge part of why I decided I needed to get into better shape so that I could play video games in the future.
That works. Motivation.
I'm,
Motivation.
But all that you're
Motivation.
saying about the moderation and the risks are fucking real. And like, I also think
Yeah.
it's risky because another thing is full of kids. That's what freaked me out a little bit. Is there was no adults in virtual reality land. It was like kids. So I'm like, I don't think it's the right time to start some explicit rap shit over here.
No. Also, for me, like I said, I have no problems with virtual reality. I just think that it'll be detrimental at some point in time for the mental health, because what you're describing as far as VR and working out and all of that jazz, it's great. It's a beautiful thing. It's motivating you. But I mean, we also had that. It's not like we haven't seen this before. We also had that with the Wii
Mm.
games. It's not virtual reality, mind you. It's actually, you can do it as a group socially. I remember we used to play Drunken Wii. We used to get drunk and play Wii, and it's a social event, and we're having fun. And it's not VR. There are human beings around us. We're laughing, we're talking, we're drinking, we're eating. Sometimes we're almost knocking each other out because we forget how much space we don't or do have. But I don't think that VR is the only outlet. I think that we have something that has already been here for us to get motivated to move. Why one would choose VR versus the Wii or whatever other Xbox Connect or whatever the hell they have now, um, is up to them. They have their own reasoning. But I mean, you can also do that. Play Wii, Xbox Connect with family, with friends,
That's
and
fresh.
enjoy it just the
To be
same.
fair, I never had Wii Fit and I never had that shit. So I don't have those memories to fall back on. But in principle, it's honestly the video gamification and exercise is something I'm all about.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
look,
Like I'm.
virtual reality is what I got it through. And it was like,
Hmm.
it's that dope. And I'm not gonna lie, it's the that dope part that made me start. Because you don't understand how lazy I was. I needed something that was that dope to make me feel like I'm gonna fucking move like that many times in a
Yeah.
row to get I was like 280 pounds. We're talking like it wasn't exactly
Okay.
like I'm saying there's a certain
Okay.
level
Okay.
where you're not already doing this your whole life. It's not a habit, and you really
Hmm.
maybe We Fit isn't dope enough. It doesn't look good enough. It looks like exercise. Virtual reality, you start playing the boxing game, and you're all of a sudden exercising and having fun by accident, and I'm saying at extreme levels though, there are times where like your habits are just trash, and you really do need some like good shit. And I hear what you're saying, because yo, I don't really do it. I ended up going to running after I started running,
Hmm.
which
Okay.
was really not a social activity. But I mean, I don't know how the fuck people run in groups. I see them do it. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing this? Now I put on some podcast shit and I fucking go. Um, Like I elevated it, and like I hate the gym though. I was never gonna go to a gym, and I don't really want to sweat and be all fucking disgusting around people. So maybe that's just also my like not desire to exercise with people too. That's kicking in, and where again, but that's it. Everybody's different, right? Like I do not think any of my ideas are like universal. I know I say a lot of like absolutionist styled shit, but like yo, I do not believe any of my shit works for people that are not necessarily named me.
No, I mean, and you said it there, key. Everyone's different. I mean, what floats your boat may not float mine, and what floats mine may not float yours. So, I mean, everyone's different, and in our differences, we still unite, we still come together. There's no problem with that. For example, I was hosting a Mother's Day party, maybe, I don't know, some years back. Hosting a Mother's Day party. My godmother was there, my aunt was there, my mother was there, another aunt was there. And I was like, you ladies want to go bowling? And they were like, bowling? No, we'll just stay right here. We don't want to go out nowhere. We don't want, you know? So guess what? I put on the Wii bowling. And these are women in like their 50s, you know what I mean? 60s. And now all of a sudden they're so into this bowling thing now, you know, to the point that when her husband called, she's like, yeah, I'm bowling. And he's like, where did you guys go bowling? We didn't go bowling. We just went Wii bowling. So, I mean, I think VR is a good thing. I think the Wii invented something also great for especially elderly people
And just to
or
go
people
back to the
who,
Wii, the Switch
yeah.
has a version of it. I don't have it, but they made an exercise thing as an example,
Hmm.
and they have shit like the bowling. So all that
Yeah.
stuff that was on the Wii that you're hyping up is now available on the Switch again in different
Bless.
ways.
Yeah. So it's like just to, you know, like just to promote activity, as you mentioned, you know, if it's VR for you, then so be it. You know what I mean? Box away, do your thing. As long as it's promoting you to be active, you know, I don't see an issue with it. Just like the Wii's working for the old ladies who want to bowl,
Big
go
facts.
for it.
But I love your idea of moderation and caring about that shit. Cause yo, it's
Oh,
important
for
that
sure.
it's important that people think about that shit. You know, that's what's really cool. Like I love how your mind works. It's just so different than mine. Like you on some all these different tips that are fucking interesting. But your points are so fucking smart. Like I
Thank
definitely
you.
think VR is coming, but we have to manage it in ways that are like really like intelligent to take into account things like addiction. I think addiction is the big fear of VR. And I hear what you're saying about lifestyles. Like I might also forget sometimes when I fantasize about my futures that I have discipline that I've developed over years, and maybe not the whole world has also put effort into discipline. So I definitely I hear what you're saying in ways that you might not think I hear what you're saying for real,
Yeah,
because it's
though
big.
they might just be stuck. They'll be stuck on this VR to the point that they're not letting it go. They might not even eat because they forget that they're supposed to eat because they're on this VR. You know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, mental health matters, and not only mental health, but as human beings, we. I don't know about anybody else, but I can say as a human being, I desire um, not so much intimacy because it's intimacy, yes, with my significant other, sure, but I mean connections,
Yep. You know, I might
connections,
have argued with you until I had to spend almost a year alone in my apartment with my girlfriend. And honestly,
connections.
I want to connect with anything.
You're
I, I don't mean it like that, but
funny.
like at
You're
this like
funny.
social level, like yo, I've been in NDG almost exclusively since like fucking like September. I haven't left it. Like you know, you start. So honestly, this human connection thing is mad important to me, which is why I've evolved my theories to start including things like parties and shit. Cause yo, I actually want to do that now. I want to go
Hmm.
fucking spit bars at house parties. That sounds blessed. I don't want to do it in bars, but yo, there maybe is something to this human community element that honestly, if you watch my earlier shit, you'll see my attitude has evolved heavy on some of these points.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
time I talk to somebody that gives me something interesting to work with on the subject, it has to evolve the theory, or else it's a bad theory, right? That's how science works. This shit's science in a sense to me. Like we're trying to figure out how to like build the future, because that's
Yeah.
kind of what
Yeah.
it is. And there's gonna be an ecosystem here, and I don't know who else is building it. I don't know who else wants to, but I'm like, yo, let's build it. To build it right, you gotta learn. I can't just
Yeah.
build shit, like you gotta understand what's happening in the world. So it's
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Yep. Cool.
So Bonnie wants to know, after calling you smart and stuff, what are your favorite books?
So this is the thing. I'm not a big reader. And to say, okay, I shouldn't say that. I read. I read, but I don't read novels. I'll read like an article, or I'll read something that's factual, or I'll read something from the encyclopedia that I'm curious about, or like a medical book or something like that. But I don't actually read novels. I cannot say I have a favorite book at all.
That's super nifty. I don't
It's
know.
weird, eh? It's weird. And a lot of people, I remember somebody, a stranger actually, he came up to me in the mall and he said, "Do you like to read?" Because we were talking, and after the conversation, he was like, "What books do you read?" And I said, "I don't read books like per se. I don't read novels. I don't, I'll read an article. I'll read something that interests me. I'll read,
So
like
Bonnie
a medical
follows
journal."
up with, I had assumed because you said you were a nerd that you read.
No,
I just
not novels,
I
not
just
novels.
assumed because you were fucking smart. But I assume you like to learn then.
I like to learn. I like to learn, and I'll read something that interests me to learn. But to say I'm gonna sit down and read a story, a novel, not necessarily.
I feel you. I'm not so. I fucked up my reading quest by choosing to read a fantasy series. It actually made it. I have to finish it because I'm on book 8 of 8. So like, you
Yeah.
can't like not finish it. But I was mostly fucking with nonfiction, and so basically like, so my theory was these motherfuckers read like 300 articles.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just read what that dude wrote. It's actually faster than reading all those articles. Cause everything I try to read has like references and shit, or at least is like, if I'm gonna read a novel, it's gonna be something like describing what it's like to be somebody in the 30s in the South. So it might be fictionalized, but it's not like, you know, it's educational. It's still in that realm of
Yes.
context because there are certain
Yes.
novels are good for perspective if it's a group that you are not part of,
Mhm.
because they teach you a
Mhm.
lot about views like that are just not mine, that I'll never
Mhm.
ever experience and shit. And I read some books where I read about views where I'm like, holy shit, did I not know that it's like that? We're talking like the 30s and 40s. Like that's not that long ago. Like people are alive from the stories I'm reading that are like
Yeah.
that bad, like just that bad. I mean, we're talking about the racisms and stuff. Like it's that, like,
Yeah.
it's vivid shit that people describe, and
Yeah.
all these. There's probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
Mhm.
So like,
Mhm.
I find that like helpful for me at least. But I can see how
Yeah.
like random novels, like mysteries and shit, I'm like, I can't do that stuff.
I admire people who read, though. I actually like people who read. I actually tried to read a few books, but I always stop in the middle, and or the middle or the beginning. I don't know if I lose interest, or I don't know what
No, a
happens.
lot of books are
Like,
trash.
no, no,
No, I'm
no,
talking
no.
structurally. I'm saying I've read enough books. I read 110 books in 3 years. I can tell you a lot of books, especially on a knowledge front, are structurally trash. They are superfluous on purpose, and you really
Mm,
did get the point. And you really probably did stop reading because it was boring. But I read
yeah.
them because I'm a writer of that kind of
Okay.
writing. Like I also
Mhm.
do more than rap in that regard. Like so it's important for me to read other kinds of shit. Like how am I ever gonna write that self help book if I don't read the bad ones too? Like why are they fluffing it up? What are they doing? So I actually have to read the whole fucking thing. But it's not because I'm enjoying it. I promise you that
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
So nah.
You're just disciplined. You're just disciplined to read it. You're motivated and determined to finish it.
Yeah, it's a flex. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
But what I just want to comment, and was reinforced by the comment section over there on Twitch, is that even if you don't read books, you're still a reader. That's facts. Um,
Yeah.
and learning, regardless of how you learn, is still facts and dopeness. So
Yeah. 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 So that's it. Like I'll read like maybe like articles about for example like a Black history article or like something about history itself, also about other cultures or within my own like African heritage. I'll read certain things like that, but no, I've never really completed a novel except for when I was in school. When I was in school, I was absolutely a nerd. I was dedicated to getting good grades and being on the damn honor roll. That's the nerd. That's the nerd. After that, forget about it. The nerd was like, leave me alone. I don't have to read your book if I don't want to. So I'm not going to. But there, I've been recently, I've been very interested to read 50 Cent's book.
which one?
I'm any, any and every because I'm very curious about this man.
Good choice.
And I'm very, very, very curious about this man. And there's something about him that I feel I need to learn.
Yo, that's big interesting to me
Yeah.
because I read a bunch of books and it's actually he showed up on the journey of my book quest.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever heard of the 48 Laws of Power.
I heard of that.
That shit's I like it. I recommend anybody, even if you don't want to read it, audiobook that shit. It's really fascinating. Um, but the guy who wrote that realized he left out a crucial law and wrote a book called The 50th Law.
Dope.
It's not the one I. Okay, there's another 50 Cent book that's whatever, but I read The 50th Law, and it was this outsider guy who Robert Greene. He followed 50 Cent around and watched him do a bunch of shit in the middle of the
Hmm.
Kanye West and 50 Cent beef. Back when they were doing the 2007 like build up to their and yo, he describes the element I think you see in him, which is fucking cool.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, he's successful, um, but it's not just that. It's not the success alone. The success is a dessert, but it's something more. Perhaps his drive.
I mean,
Definitely something more. I don't know,
I
but
could tell you what
I'm
the book
very interested.
thinks, but or you could
Yeah.
discover it on your own.
I mean, you could tell me. I could discover it eventually, but
It's he's fearless.
whatever's good.
He has zero fear. He gives zero fucks what you think. He actually is so fearless. He creates the hate. It's all manufactured. Everything about 50 Cent is manufactured to drive everything. He embraces the fact that people hate him, and he's fearless about it. He has this like
Hmm.
he laughs at yo. Look at him. He comes on a Drink Champs. He's just laughing. He's just loving his life. You always see
Yeah.
him in the middle of everything. And he's just fearless about it. He got shot 9 times and he became
Yeah. Yeah.
fearless.
Yeah.
That's I think the most attractive thing of 50 Cent when you really look at him and you look at his
I
career.
believe that.
And his
I
career is
believe that.
magical because he took the trap with the crack selling
Hmm.
and he took the same logic to music and then he took the same logic to fucking business and he took over
Yeah.
everything like Jay-Z. He did a lot of things
Hmm.
Jay-Z did, just not to the same scale.
But and another thing, well, when you mentioned the Drink Champs, the fact that he also doesn't conform.
Mm. I don't think he drank, hey? I think he smoked. I think he, I think he,
I don't even think he
I
smoked.
think he took a puff. I remember them making a big deal about him taking like a little puff or something in the middle at one point. Because I
And he
remember
probably didn't even inhale.
that's probably
But
fair, but he did it for the
but
show.
he did it for the show. But the thing is, I don't find that he conforms. I think that that part is something that I admire about him.
I
The
like
fact
that.
that he doesn't conform. And it probably it ties into what you're saying about being fearless. Like, I don't give a fuck if you don't like the fact that I'm not doing it this way. I'm doing it the way I want to do it. You know, he doesn't conform. And I appreciate that about him because so far his steps have been grand. So, what is he really conforming to when he does conform? So he's very much true to himself in that sense. And so far, that's what I can appreciate. I mean, I
Well, let's
haven't
go
read
like
any
one step
of his
further
books.
with him. Who the fuck
Mm.
stays relevant without doing much? I mean, yes, he did Power, but relatively
But
speaking, he didn't do very much for a decade of relevancy, which is so cool.
power was enough.
But he was relevant
Power was
before
enough.
Power
Yeah.
to the same degree, and he hadn't really been dropping shit. He just stays relevant since like 2003. You
Yeah. And yeah, yeah, interesting. Interesting.
and
Yeah,
Yo,
he's such
Power's
an
dope
interesting
though.
guy.
Power is a good.
I
Yo,
love
Power is
power.
the best soap opera I ever watched.
Yeah. For sure. For
I'm
sure.
laying it out. It's what it is. There are
It is.
literally simultaneous sex scenes for the first two seasons, as in like main
Mm,
dude and chick is banging, and the next dude and they're at the same time. They did it in like every episode for two seasons. I'm like, yo, we used to like make fun of this. Like, here it is
yeah,
again.
here it is.
But yet that show's banging. I don't even. I
It's
think
a,
I
it's a
stopped in
pretty
season 4 or something, but like I went pretty far with
what?
it. I didn't watch go because what happened was is like I got to the point where the last season hadn't been out yet, so it
Okay.
was like I'd caught up, but the last
Hmm.
season hadn't come yet, and like life gets in the way sometimes of going back to a television show. I can tell you one
For
thing:
sure.
if you're a binge watcher like me, going to a new season a year and a half later is not the simplest thing in the world.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. But it's such a good show that I mean that alone boosted his relevance. Not only that, but he created a show I think for ABC, like Lifetime or Life or something like that, where a man's in jail. I don't know about that one too much, but and he has his like cognac. He has a drink out, Bronson's cognac. So it's like he's very intelligent is another thing too, and that's the part that I'm very interested too. Like how can I understand what he understands? He's so intelligent,
Yeah,
so
and
intelligent.
you see it in his social media game. My favorite
Mm.
moment in recent social media trolling is him buying out the whole front row of Ja Rule's concert.
And that's the other thing too. You say it, trolling. That's him. And he's always been on Ja Rule's back since when was it? 2000?
Like
Whenever,
whatever it was, I
something
don't.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's like we thought it was over. Ja Rule thought it was over. It's never over.
nah, man. 50 Cent. Well, to be fair, Ja Rule will occasionally be braggadocious and make a noise, and 50 Cent only ever responds to any time Ja Rule tries to have a career.
Yeah, but that alone is like, what the fuck? Like, what's your problem? Leave him alone.
I don't know.
Let him eat too.
There was alleged violence in the original incident. Who am I to say how far revenge goes when alleged violence happens, right? That's not a
That's
world I
true.
truly understand. But I can tell you if somebody tried to harm me, not physically, I might hold a grudge for the rest of my life because I might not be the bigger man always because, I'm humans.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yo,
No,
50
that's
Cent
true.
makes money on that too. You think he doesn't like,
Yeah.
he makes so much money trolling Ja Rule that if you're a good businessman, well, wouldn't you enjoy that? Like, yo, I mean, that's it. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, it's ethically a thing for us that I think is morally and ethically weird. And that's where 50 Cent's fearlessness comes in. And he goes, nah, I don't
Mm,
care.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
always had a lot of trouble with that thing that 50 Cent can do that I can't do.
Yeah, that's 50. That's 50. I mean, I think I do think he's so intelligent. So even when he's like trying to fuck with Ja Rule, it's like, no, there's something else behind it. You know, it's like he's not just doing it like for no
How
reason. Like
many
nothing's
pays
for
Ja
nothing.
Rule?
He's doing
Like, no, I'm not even playing it. I bet at some point they're like, yo,
it.
we both make way more money on this. Like, let's never dead
That's
it.
true.
Like, Ja Rule's not in a position where he's not gonna say, like, he's gonna take the money.
He would take the money.
Didn't he?
He would take the money.
Didn't like 50 buy
He would
his
take the money.
masters or some shit too?
Don't say that. Did he?
90%, not 100. Maybe somebody who's watching can confirm, but like I'm pretty sure, yo, like 50's on some shit with that. But like again, what if he's also slipping him 50 grand to make a move like this every time? Like
That's true.
that is the level of smart. So it looks away, but you also don't become a tycoon if you're dishonorable in your businesses.
That's true. That's true.
So
That's true.
that's what I mean. He doesn't he doesn't care about his perception. He's fearless about with regards to what you think of him. And that's the
Hmm.
hard part. If you in your heart and soul know you do only do good, but the world thinks you're evil, does it really matter? You know, like I think that's where he's at.
Hmm. That's dope. That's dope. That's a dope perspective.
Thank you. I'm really into that
Yeah.
philosophical, like, I don't know, man. I just like trying to stay humble. Like, I mean, we're on camera, so grandiosity is like my move now. But like in real life, I try to stay humble for real and remember
For
my place
sure.
in the universe and shit. Um,
Hmm.
You passed 3 hours. I just wanted you to know that you would
It's
because it was
true.
super
It's true.
fucking important after you said you wouldn't. Because you did. You said that, and I'm like, oh, you think so, eh? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
because you're mad interesting. It's not like I look. I can't always go this long. It's not always possible for me to come up with ways to keep a conversation running this long. I do want to
Hmm.
wrap it up though, because I'm getting real hungry, and it's like 10:20, and I don't know how much more I can stay creative and dope with it, you know?
All good. All good.
I'm also like coughing every 7 seconds, and I'm like, this is not going to be great for sound bites after if I keep this up. So, like, anyhow,
It's true. Where's your water?
yo, it's almost done, but we okay. I'm like, maybe my voice is like giving me signs and shit. No, but this was amazing. This is everything I hoped for. Like, listen, this is all I want out of this shit. I want people to tell me that I need to think differently. It seems like a weird goal, but selfishly, yo, Chris, relax. I didn't cough that much. My editor's here going, I got it, my guy. I'm gonna fuck it. I'm like, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, but like, that's what I love about this. Yo, if I can have a conversation where I learn something and maybe you learn something, I don't know. That's not really like it's cool if you do, but like really, I want to learn shit. And I got to learn a lot about Serenity. You gave me tips for life. You gave all of us tips for life. And that's the thing. I represent everybody watching with this. All of us are learning with me. So that's why it's such a dope experience. And if we can go that long and cover so many things, like, yo, we slipped in some SoCan, we slipped in some, all sorts of different things, real things that get put into it that people can go back on. You hyped up Le Cypher so much, it's a fucking ad. You just made an
Yeah.
ad for them by accident.
I know I didn't. Was it by accident?
Nah, because you a G with it. But, like, yeah, I use my flowery persona language. It is what it is. I don't think anything in life is that accidental unless,
Nah, I
like,
don't think so either.
I mean, you might not be aware of how it got there until after the fact, but accident, I don't know. But yo,
Yeah,
you
I
made
always say nothing's for nothing. I always say nothing's for nothing.
like,
So
what are the odds I chose to
yeah,
go to
see,
that show? Like, what are the odds?
true.
That's a bunch of
That's true.
random, right? Like, I didn't go to any shows for a minute. I saw a Lorelai Lahiri post about supporting female artists, and nobody ever goes to their show. And I'm like, well, fuck that. I need to be able to say I went to some women's shows. And I went to two in 2 weekends. The other one was hosted by Steven. I think that's his name, the Le Cypher guy. I don't remember. I don't know. I know his.
Vincent
That's
Stevens.
it. Yeah, his middle name is Steven, so I caught that part.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent, him. So he was
Mm-hmm.
hosting the next show the next week, where I happened to see Naya Ali before I knew who Naya Ali was, and I'm like,
There you
that's
go.
crazy, right? Like, and that's when I realized women can rap. Like, let me be
Yeah.
clear, I ain't never seen 10 dudes show up ready to rap like that Le Chick show.
Mm-hmm.
All of y'all were ready.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we took it seriously. I know I can only speak for myself really. I took it seriously, and I know for some other girls who they also took it seriously. So it's a big deal. And once again, I don't like to separate man versus woman, female versus male. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a rapper and you're passionate about your art and you're passionate about your craft, you're going to take it seriously to the point that you want to put on a good show. You want to make people vibe with you. You want to make people catch a wave, you know? So whether it's a male or a female,
That's true.
you know what I mean?
I was actually
So,
baffled. Yo, that show had no men in it. And then you go to the show with the dudes and it's just dudes. I'm like, yo, there's a fucking broken something. At least one of those ladies told me flat out, I wish there were men here. You think you're the only ones who want groupies. And my mind was blowing. I was like, men are not there for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not single,
well,
right? So like I'm not there to do things like this. But
hmm
that put me in a whole different mind frame. Now I'm in my observational mode the whole night and I'm like, there's like 50 women in this room. And the only 6 guys here have girlfriends. Where am I? Nobody told me this exists in Montreal. And it's all banging hip hop. Like all of it. It was good. Everybody there brought something to the table. And then
hmm
the next week, I went to another all lady lineup. And let me tell you something at a preparedness level, the same thing. And
hmm
I'd never gone to 2 shows in 2 weekends. And this is me. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying I had never gone to 2 shows in 2 weekends in a row that were all lined up proper like that. It was all women performing. I'm not saying that there's a difference or anything, but I've been to
hmm
way more shows with dudes and seen a lot less preparedness.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
That's all I can say.
Gotcha.
Is anecdotally, that's all I can say. But y'all didn't have hype men's and shit. Y'all weren't like 15s
Nope.
on the stage. Y'all were like,
Nope.
I don't need that shit. Let me do my shit. I am doing what you
Exactly.
think I'm doing a little bit. I'm having fun with it. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Have fun with
I
it.
go to these
I
shows where
mean,
there's like 15 fucking dudes on there. I'm like, come on, my guy. Anyway, I'm not trying to
yeah,
throw shade. I'm not trying to be like that. It's later. This is why I have to like be extra cautious at this time of day. But it's true though. Like your show is entertaining as a show. I was
yeah.
entertained as a fan. It was a
hmm
really weird experience for the tier of venue and shit that it was.
hmm hmm hmm
And I don't.
Yeah. But and you touch on something very important, like no hype men, no extra amount of people on the stage, which once again I think is important because you want, at least as the artist, you want the crowd to be engaged with you, not just because you have a crowd behind you. You know what I mean? You want your crowd to be engaged with you because you are engaging, not just because there's a whole bunch of hype men and other people behind you helping you engage the crowd. Sometimes the hype men are more excited about the song than the crowd themselves. So you have to find a way to engage your audience in your music. When I perform, I love performing. I think performing is one of my favorite things to do after writing
Mm,
because that's when the crowd really feels the energy of what serenity is as an oxymoron, you know? So, yeah, most definitely.
yeah,
Most definitely.
I have one more comment from one of my patrons who asked it like way early on, and I'm like, it's not the right time, but he wants me to ask everybody who your favorite artist influences are.
Oh, okay. My favorite, like, artists as far as bars go and flow, I would say Biggie Smalls. Notorious B.I.G. Rest in peace to Biggie Smalls. Um, Also, Andre 3000. That guy, I love that guy for his bars. Like his flow is sick too. I mean, he's a good package, you know. So smart, so intelligent with the puns, so intelligent with the play words. Excuse me, wordplay. So definitely Andre 3000. Missy Elliott, because she's Missy Elliott, she's so ahead of her time. Her vision was far compared to the other female artists that were during her time. You know what I mean? Her vision was and is still very far.
I would go
And
beyond just the ladies of her time. Her vision was far for music of her. You can put
mm,
on a Missy Elliott song from that era, and a lot of it sounds like it could have been kind of thought of today.
yeah, exactly. And not only the music, but her videos too. And she has a hand in those videos for sure. So definitely Missy, and she's for me, she's number one female uh rap artist. So they would be my top three. Then I go to four. I love Eminem for his speed and his also wordplay. Very, 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 very dope artist. And I mentioned Busta Rhymes before, and Nas. I like Nas for his. I like him for his flow and his lyricism.
He does have a
And
good
he always
flow.
brought something. Yeah, he does. He has a good flow. He's smooth. He's mellow, but lyrically tight, and at the same time conscious too, to the point that yeah, I really like Nas. I really like Nas.
That's dope.
Yeah. So
So I
yeah,
appreciate you answering that.
no problem.
I only ask it when he shows up and asked it because I feel like it's one of those questions you're gonna get it in every interview ever, ever, ever. So like I'm gonna try to not do that with my shits. That's the truth of it. But yeah, thank you. I don't know what else to say at this point except this was amazing. I had a lot of fun.
Likewise.
I
Thank you.
really I enjoyed it. I don't think we've really had a real conversation like proper before this aside of my excessive text spamming, which it is what it is. I type fast. Um, but yeah, thank you again, and thank you for coming last Tuesday to the cipher. Like on a personal front, that meant a lot to me because it's a new project
No,
that we're doing. So we always hope to see you come through. We're doing it every Tuesday until we can't. Uh,
thank you, thank you. Shout out to Cool Man Logan also for letting me know about it from the jump. And shout out to you for hosting it and letting me know about the Zoom link and getting on it.
yeah, I mean, we just wanted to be honestly. It's what that Max did, honestly, but mostly with a big intent of selling beats. That's my biggest goal. So I want these beat makers, cause yo, from like a futuristic point of view, how can you have a sound of your city without producers?
You can't.
And like we can
You
all
can't.
rap whatever, but like yo, it's like Young Mustard and all these motherfuckers that made Atlanta like super hot and shit, and like
That's
Premiere and
true.
all this shit that made New York. Like like people don't necessarily see it like that, but like so me, it's now about all love to the producers and the rappers are secondary to me. No offense to
Hmm.
rappers, we
No,
secondary.
that's fine. That's fine. My first EP, I used predominantly Montreal producers actually. And one Montreal producer in particular, I think I have like maybe three songs. Yeah, I used him for three songs, like his productions for three songs. Crazy. So it's like out of seven songs, three songs. One man from Montreal, definitely enough respect to Shamandi.
Mm.
And yeah, dope, dope, dope.
I ended up accidentally making mental music with Montreal beats because I didn't know
Hmm.
anybody else, and everything happened like that. But nobody's ever heard of most of the people I worked with. But that's why like, I'm trying to get my main guy. I'm like, dude, sell your fucking beats, dude. They're dope. And he's like, wait, people would buy them? I'm like, I literally, you know how many times I had that chat. Anyway, uh,
Yeah, but I mean, we have producers all over, and we have like even our sound engineers who are producers, like Merker and
oh, Merker's wonderful.
Meticulous. So Meticulous makes beats, Merker makes beats, and like you see them on IG, they're like posting like some of the stuff they're cooking up. So it's like, we just have to take heed to that. I mean, presently I'm still going through a list of beats that I have in store because I remember
Wait,
buying
wait.
a slew of beats. You know what I mean? So until I get rid of those, I will then move on to another thing because that's how
No,
I
I
work.
mean, but and it's not really about you or I or anything. I did a whole project with beats from Alabama because I was like, that'd be kind of cool. It's an international album.
Hmm.
That's why I did that one. But like the whole Cypher's existence for me is to sell Montreal beats. But because, yo, there's this thing called Amino Domini where people buy beat packs like crazy. And I'm like, they don't live in Montreal. I'm certain there's people in Montreal that'll sell you a beat pack for the same price. Literally, if
That's
you're like
true.
saying you'll put up
That's true.
dollars, I'm sure somebody's got a beat pack they're cooking up. So why are we putting money in LA? Why are we putting money in New York? Why are we? I don't mean this to like disrespect these cities and shit, but like, why don't we just keep the money in Montreal?
That's true.
That's my
That's
mission
true.
with it. So I feel like if
That's
people
true.
can hear how fuego the beats are, they're not gonna feel as inclined to go jump at places. They'll be like, "Yo, who made that beat?" And then they want to go
Well,
buy
that
that
was
shit.
me. That was me on Tuesday, right? When I heard that beat, I was like, "Yo, whose beat is that?"
Mm.
And then you had to let me know. You had to hit me up and let me know.
That's what it is, which I forgot about after because life is busy.
Yes, you did.
I'm not.
Yes,
I
it's
am like
okay.
so fucking scatterbrained there, but now I remember
That's
that.
okay.
Um,
Yes, you do.
but yeah, for real, that's kind of what the goal is with that shit. Is to introduce Montreal artists. Well, not necessarily just Montreal. I don't fucking care if the rapper wants to take money from somewhere else and put it in Montreal. That's okay with me too. So rappers can be from anywhere, but the beats have to be Montreal. That's the
Yeah,
main mission.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just wanted to thank you for coming through because I feel like having
Thank
Serenity
you.
come through and that was dope. I enjoyed that a lot. Um, but thank you again. Thank you all for watching too, because without y'all, like, there's no real purpose in my opinion of doing it live. Maybe not doing it, yes, but doing it live. It's more fun with an audience. And there have been comments coming through. Honestly, like Jamal Hussein's been here, so shout out him. Shout out the
Yeah,
boy
shout
Chris
out.
Crum. Merker came through before. Meticulous has been watching. My homeboy Ismail's
Bless,
there. So like we've had people
bless,
watching this shit and interacting and
bless.
engaging, which that's part of why we go this long. Because if people aren't there and engaging, I'm like, well, I guess it's not that lit tonight. Which is not
Yeah,
my decision. It's the people's decisions. So the people
for
chose
sure,
you as super interesting.
for
Um,
sure.
so yeah, do you have any like last words for the folk before I do my little wrap up speech?
No, just thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting Bridge the Gap behind that suit, Serenity. And let's keep Montreal rolling and booming. That's all.
Fresh. So yeah, thanks
That's all.
again to everyone. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Pato, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble. The dope. They support what we do. If you on Twitch and you support what we do, you can hit that subscribe and that. If you had that Amazon Prime, it's free. And if you're in the future watching, it's patreon.com/behind that suit. If you want to give real love and all that good shit. Otherwise, for reals, thank y'all for being here. Subscribe, like, follow all that future video stuff, because not the live video, that's the future video people watching. And on that note, everybody, we're going to start a raid over here on the Twitch. A raid is when you invade the next channel. You might know that. It's still habit speech. And I'm going to hit that and live long and prosper, everyone.